'Cause this is definitely one of them.
They didn't need to learn a live cut. But you know what else is live? Us.
Wait a minute. He hit the button. I didn't even realize it.
Oh, I
Bro.
thought you knew he hit the button. That's why
Bro.
you said that.
No.
That was. I like to get people's natural reactions, but the fact that we're live means the show is about to start. And today's show, Good Brothers. You know, I always started saying something like this. I turn my head like that and I say something, Good Brothers. Today, it's all about the best betrayals in professional wrestling. We are just on the heels of WWE Payback. And today we're going to take a look back at some of our most famous and our favorite and best betrayals. And not only are we going to talk about our best betrayals in pro wrestling history, we're also going to talk about some potential betrayals that could possibly be a brewing. Maybe even some on this goddamn show.
Wait, what?
Hmm?
I wasn't aware of that in the rundown.
Oh, trust me. No pun intended, Brian H. We will be breaking it down right after this.
Stretch out a little bit.
Oh, really? You got to stretch out, huh? Really?
Yeah,
Really? Guess
sure.
what?
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh, yeah. And that's my cue. Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm. I am your host, yours truly, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. These guys have nice t-shirts. He is your host. As the third, Brother Hugh himself, A88 to the S, T to the A to the E, 3 to the R to the D. The new world-renowned executive producer of the hottest show on professional wrestling television and championship culture. He's your host, the heel, Hollywood Brian H. himself.
No, I
Brian,
might not be the heel of that.
Brian H. Waters. All you fans who throwing trash in the ring can stick it, brother. He is your host, the Belt King himself, Brother Brandon himself. Brandon, the guy. You know what? You should be the heel. You know what? Because Brandon guy's terrible. Anyway, you can follow us on all of our social media platforms, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook at Wrestling Realm. Like, subscribe, and engage in a conversation with us. You can also stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Watch us and subscribe to our Twitch channel. Anybody watching from Twitch right now? Hey, how you doing? At the Wrestling Realm. If you want to support the brand, if you want to support the brand, head over to WrestlingRealm.com. That's right. Well, you can find all of our Wrestling Realm merchandise. And just in a second, we got to talk about some more merchandise. You can proudly display your fandom for professional wrestling and get your proud wrestling fan t-shirt, as well as all the other Wrestling Realm t-shirts, mugs, crew necks, sweatshirts. We have a lot on there. And guess it looks like we got to add some more things. Isn't that right, gentlemen? We got a little bit more to add there, don't we? We have a lot because Championship Culture looks like they officially have merchandise right now. We're going to let Brandon get into that in a quick second. But also, for all exclusive shows and bonus material, head over to our patreon.com wrestling_realm channel. I said it kind of funny, but it's okay. That's right. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm for all exclusive shows and bonus material. There are things we can't say on the air. There are stories that have not been told. There are writings on there from Brian. What do you consider? What do you consider that? What are we calling that when you write something?
Brian H. Waters thoughts.
Brian H. Waters thoughts. Available on patreon.com wrestling_realm. If you have not read Brian H's writing, he's a couple. He's a one heck of a writer. He has a great perspective on this business. Trust me, he's seen it from every angle of it as a fan, as well as working in this industry. But there's so much more to come to Patreon. We're going to do so much more when God gives us the freedom to be able to do so. But trust me, you can subscribe for just as low as $1. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm. And I know the summer's coming to an end, but guess what? The summer may be coming to an end, but we have this fall season coming up. But guess what? If you want to Save $20 off your purchase. If you want to buy tickets, head over to SeatGeek.com using promo code Wrestling Realm. That's right. So if you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, WrestleMania will be here before you know it. Head over to SeatGeek.com, and guess what? If you have never used this before, any first-time purchase, use promo code Wrestling Realm. Do yourself a favor. Save yourself $20 off. Promo code Wrestling Realm. That's right. SeatGeek.com, promo code Wrestling Realm. See, I say it over and over again because you got to keep the sponsors happy.
Gotta get them tickets, man. Look, the Orioles are hot. The Yankees are not. Neither is the Mets. But you can get some Oriole tickets right now going on there. You know, let's see. Next week, the Rockies come to Baltimore. So get tickets there. But then if you all the way out west, Seattle Mariners are hot too. They considered the hottest team in baseball. You can save money on those seats as well. $50 or more.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard the man himself, Brian H. SeatGeek.com.
Oh, Ravens
Promo
tickets
code.
too. Football
Ravens
tickets.
tickets.
You know they expensive.
Football season is pretty much upon us. So SeatGeek.com. Use promo code Wrestling Realm. Like I said, like Brian H. said, do yourself a favor. Save yourself $20. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the show in our logistics where we advertise we got to change this graphic now because there's a lot going on with you guys. Championship culture featuring the Belt King himself, Brandon the Guy. Man, I'm speechless. First of all, it's probably one of the highest rated shows that we've ever had on the network. For those that do not know, Brandon the Guy is the Belt King, and he brought over his brand to the wrestling realm. We've expanded, and Championship culture, him along with Brother Hugh, are doing amazing numbers. They're expanding really fast, and as you can see, these brothers have merchandise now. That's right. They've taken their entrepreneurial spirit and they have developed their own brand. They have these new t-shirts. Look at this. They have new merchandise. Look at that. Look at this new championship culture swag.
Oh yeah. Like,
Look at that. Look at that. If you're listening and you're not sure what we're talking about, you got to head over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/wrestling where you can check out Championship Culture. There's a special playlist under the Wrestling Realm channel on YouTube. Championship Culture. Brother Brandon, tell the people about Championship Culture and what you talked about yesterday on Tuesday.
So, on the latest episode of Championship Culture, myself and the executive producer, Hash the Third, broke it down about who wore better. And we talked about the Big Eagle. Now, even though I had a short history as it compares to like the Wing Eagle and the current WWE Network logo, we talked about who wore better. And I was surprised that Hugh did not fight as much to say Kane wore better. He did. He had. Shout out to Man Up from Man Cave Sports, who agreed with you about Kane was awesome. But I think we came to a conclusion about who wore it better. I appreciate everybody that tuned in with the comments. We try to engage, and that kicked off our series of special guests that we're going to have over the next month or so. So had to kick it off with you. And somebody got off before we could, tell him that, Custom Guy 913 had made him his own Championship Culture shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Those are Lakers colors. Look at that. Kobe Bryant
with
would
the
be
Lakers
so proud.
colors.
Yes, sir.
But-
I need that. That right there going with my shoes.
But wait a minute, here's the kicker. So myself and the executive producer, we were talking about it. It'll find its home here next to his belt because it seems like he's never going to have it until the belt. Hopefully by the time next week's show, when the real Dwayne Allen will be discussing looks can be deceiving, he might have his belt and his shirt to wear on the show. But I think
that will be
think before that happens, I will have to say this. I think Brian H. Waters will have his shirt before.
Oh, I need that one too now. I need both.
I think Brian H. Waters will have his
Yo,
shirt
that's fire.
before Dwayne has his shirt. And as Brian H. Waters knows, this orange is special for multiple reasons.
Yes,
I didn't
sir.
put any blue in there. I tried to keep it orange and black.
Oh.
But you talked about your Oreos. And I don't know if you see it. Brian, because he's a heel, his eagle is a little different than everybody else's. But
wait, what's wrong? Why my eagle gotta be different?
Because, brother,
you're a
all
heel.
you fans throwing trash in this ring can stick it, brother.
So let's see who gets their shirt first, But, I'm sorry, and on the back. So I don't know if, so Brian, if you come knocking on the door right now, you probably throw your shirt on by the end of the show, because I know you don't live far. And brother, the realness, that's yours on the back. But let me just.
I was gonna say, brother Hugh, he looked better in his championship culture shirt than he used to in his Dolph Ziggler shirt back in the day.
He's definitely giving off Dolph Ziggler vibes as it is, though. Like if I was a betting man,
yeah,
I would think that was the inspiration behind this shit. I could be wrong. I wasn't the architect of the situation.
Because he had that issue
about the customized ones. We try to customize them to that person. So, for Dwayne, this shirt was inspired by the Joker, but for Brian, he's going to think of Jeff Hardy with these colors. So,
Jeff Hardy.
That's
why you trying to ice you out like that? Because you're not gonna know about the comic book stuff,
right?
I was just trying to make it similar because you pointed out Dolph Ziggler, right, with the pink. So I'm gonna hang your shirt back up with your belt, brother. Maybe by next week when we go
know
to
the vibes.
Exactly.
We do. Who? I'm sorry. Looks can be deceiving. You'll have your shirt by then and your belt, maybe. If not, it'll be hanging with your belt.
Wow, that's how y'all do the brother.
I'm just saying. I know Brian gonna have his within like 24 hours. I know he is.
I'm surprised he's not in the car right
now. I'm surprised he's not in the car right now. Probably not. I'll be right back.
Right.
So, yeah, be on the lookout for championship culture. This is probably one of the signature designs. The other one will be the CC. Thanks to brother Dwayne Allen for coming up with these concepts. We just added one more thing to it. But
it's
we
perfect,
really
brother.
appreciate you coming up with the logo. And I don't know if Hugh, did you have it in there about next week's graphic? So I don't think Dwayne really paid attention to his graphic.
No, I did. I noticed you holding the belt behind me. Like I didn't miss that. But you know what? First of all, let's give brother Brandon and brother Hugh a round of applause just for their amazing work. I mean, come on now, just give it up for the good brothers, man. You guys have taken the brand really, really far in such a short amount of time. But it fits with today's theme. You know, I watched the show yesterday, and man, the level of trolling was through the roof. And I just said, man, realness, you got to figure this out, man. You know, I know Tommy's been off, and I feel like I'm paying for it. You know, but I told brother Brent, I said, you know what, man, I don't know, man, I don't know how much longer I can keep taking it. He said, well, you probably, you know, make a heel turn next. I don't think I'm much of a heel turn kind of guy, but you know, today is about betrayals, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes I feel betrayed by the good brothers because every time, you know, they show up, they troll me, and it's okay. But before we get into today's show, we're going to talk about the best betrayals in pro wrestling. I gotta set the scene for me a little bit because, you know, I just want to hold on. I'm just move this out the way real quick. This is my championship, but people don't know it, right? Just move it out the way real quick. I'm just gonna go ahead and just slide this one. And just, you know, just kind of set the tone for, you know, I don't know if anybody knows what this is. Oh, with this whole thing, shh, keep your mouth shut. No, it says just give him his belt back. Brandon's Universal Wrestling Rum title. It's clearly, he's. I feel like my title has been held hostage, right? So I just looks like your title is a little indisposed right now, buddy.
Now I'm gonna say this. You know, the last time you said something about the title, version 2 popped up.
You can't afford to keep buying belts, and they don't come that fast. I know that for a fact. I've been watching. I've been watching the show long enough to know that you're not getting one that quick. So I'm gonna get my jazz today, and my friend is going to sit right here for the rest of the show. Clearly he's going to keep his mouth shut. He can't speak. He's just like,
oh, that's the tape.
Yeah, that's okay. I just let So if anybody's watching, I want everybody this is what Brandon does to me every week. So this, hey, how about this, buddy? Yeah. So I'm just going to keep his championship right there, right? And just,
You?
Yes, sir.
I think you opened up a can of worms.
So now, Brian, now you see he sat there and texted him while I was sitting there trying to set the scene for today.
What did Jimmy used to say? We're gonna get him.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we might have a Wrestle Rum Civil War over championship culture. This is who thought that championship culture will bring a divide? But guess what though? But yeah, so this is at least this is today. So Brian, let's go ahead and ring the bell. We have people already coming in to the chat, and today because people are interested to hear what we got to say. But I just want to make sure that we set the tone for today. You know what I mean? All this betrayal going on. So All right, good brothers. What did we watch this week? Now I know we when I did the show rundown, I kind of got the topic a little bit late to you guys, but I did it for a reason because I think some of our most natural reactions make for some of the best content that we do on the show. So
Mhm.
with that being said, I know you didn't have
Mhm.
much time to
Oh.
prepare for it, but what did you guys get into this week?
Brother
Oh, here we
Brandon,
go.
What'd you say here? I'm sorry.
you went out of town, didn't you?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to watch I did watch Monday Night Raw, but I did go out of town. And while I was out of town, I was able to kick back, put my feet in some sand. And this is what I did while I was out of town. Brother Hugh.
Wait a minute. What the heck? What?
So
Oh, so you
the
was
belt
gonna-
has made their way to Virginia Beach. And I was able to take, some glamour shots with it. So now this to travel down to Virginia. So check that off on his road trip.
Okay.
Bro. What the heck?
I'm sorry. And I did watch Monday Night Raw, and I couldn't believe it. When I was watching Monday Night Raw, I don't know if you caught it. It was about, I think it was like 11:62. Triple H came on, and he had a special announcement. And I don't know if you saw his special announcement or not.
Oh man.
You want to see the clip from his special announcement?
No, I don't. I don't want to see it.
What the?
So Triple H said that this is the next belt that he's going to introduce, and this is going to be his mid-card title because he loved the design so much. And he said the only way to pay homage to it was to make it his next mid-card title. So on Level Up, this is going to be the new mid-card / Level Up championship. Just wanted to share that with you, Brother Realness.
Who's the holder? Gable Stevenson?
I think he's going to just hand it to him like they did with the world title and just hand it to him. I think that's what they're going to give. Either him or Lacey Evans will get it, one of the two. We haven't figured out which one yet. So
she gone.
yeah, but she can take it on our world tour while she's going with her name. So
just keep it out of Matt Cardona's hands.
Yeah, he actually wanted to take it to GCW, but I stopped him because it's already red, and I didn't want blood to happen. So I said, no, not yet. When he loses his women's tag belt, he'll get that belt probably. So that's what I watched this week. How about you, sir?
Oh, me? Well, I just happened to be outside. I wasn't supposed to be, but I happened to be outside over the weekend, and I ran into an old friend, actually. Got on top of the roof, but we was chilling for a while. We just kicked it, you know what I mean? It was good times, Sat back, watched over Gotham City for a little bit.
Is this the roast of the realness? What the heck is going on, bro?
I was not aware of this.
I don't know what you're talking about. What you mean?
I think it's so ironic because Batman was my first words, like as a child. Like in 1988. Like that's just clearly I brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It takes a man to admit that. Most men won't even admit that.
I think that's going to be the new Twitter profile picture. Triple H introducing your title.
I like that.
That was a good moment.
We're gonna use that.
No, y'all gotta tweet that. Y'all hear you,
bro.
I think the Wayne is actually speechless.
I don't know what to say, bro. Like, I'm sitting there watching it, and I saw something pop up. Once again, I'm not paying any mind. Sometimes Brother Hugh, adds different things to the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there like, wait a minute, Virginia Beach.
Like, bro, they got us thinking his internet going wrong. No, he just up there trolling,
bro. Hey. They rehearsed this whole shenanigans, bro. It is on. Hold on, shush, please. Shh. Don't say a word. Oh boy, man, at least your behavior is in line with tonight's show.
Yes,
because I feel betrayed. Why does Batman have my title around his waist? Like that's just.
He said he wanted to see it.
You know what? It was the most prestigious belt within the wrestling realm, and he wanted to be a part of history. So now it's been to Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's been to a pop-up at Walmart. Yep. It has been to Virginia Beach. It's been on Monday Night Raw. And if you go back and watch, it was 11:62. It was on there.
And then Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
He keeps saying like 11:62 though. Like he's 11 like that. I just want to know what time is 11:62.
Exactly.
Hey,
So then he was there.
That's like 12:02. That's like midnight.
But you got to go back and watch it. But that was the footage I got from it. So it'll be a level up in about 2 weeks. You'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I think it's time for me to get my title back. We got to put this to an end.
You got 6 days before the episode of Championship Culture. And imagine what can happen in 6 days.
That's the part. As soon as you said 6 days, I was like, man, the fact that you know that number already makes me suspicious. Like, oh geez, I feel like you guys got 6 more days of this waiting to go. Oh boy,
No, we just
this is what happens when you have a guy. This is the Belt King. This is content you're not going to get anywhere else.
Yep.
But wow. Anyways, what did I watch this week? I watched my good brothers troll me about my championship title that's been hijacked as we try to do this goddamn show. Matter of fact, let me see. But you know what? It's funny that you guys are saying those things, but let me tell you the moment that I felt betrayed. Like it was obvious. Like I really I was like, okay, this is where it's gone. And I was like, wait a minute, I saw this. I said, I'm going to purposely show this so people know, like, no, this is the part that I was like, okay, I get it. Okay, so they're not letting me. I'm having technical difficulties, so they're not going to let me do it right now. Oh, but trust me, it's going to go on there. It's going to go on there. But anyways, we'll get to that because today we're here to talk about once again the best betrayals in professional wrestling. But let me ask you, good brothers, let's just kick the conversation off. We have a lot of people kind of in here already. We have people in the comments kind of brewing. Why are betrayals so beloved in this crazy entertainment sport of professional wrestling? Why do we get a kick out of this stuff so much?
It's emotional, man.
Okay.
When you see whether it's a heel or a baby face or whatever, it's emotional. It's usually something you can relate to. Most of the time you don't want it to happen. So, but when it does, you root against that other person very heavy. And that's just a quick summary without getting into details. I'm pretty sure we'll go into specific ones, but that's the gist of it. It's emotional, it's real, and when you sit back and watch it, it's like, oh man, it a lot of times triggers something, especially when you get older. And when you're younger, you just like, oh man, my favorite wrestler is a bad guy now or a good guy now. But when you're younger, when you get older, it usually is a trigger to something.
Let me ask you this, Brother Brandon. Is it more about the fact that betrayals kind of happen in professional wrestling, or does it seem like is it more because of kind of like what Brian Nation pretty much said, that is it because it's so unexpected, right? If you're thinking about some of our most favorite and the best betrayals that have been properly executed, which we're going to get into, they seem so unexpected. At least to me, they did. And that's kind of what I remember, just being really, really pissed at some of these moments. Is because one, I didn't really see it coming, and two, a lot of these betrayals are between people that have a crazy history, but it seems so unexpected. Do you agree, or do you feel like it's something else?
I agree 100% because sometimes wrestlers get into the character gets into a rut and you can't figure out what's next for them or what do they fit. So when the betrayal happened, it kind of makes a new character, a new layer. It's like a refresh or a revamp or a different light for that character. Or like you feel that I'm not being cheered, so now it's time for me to lean into the booze. Or now I'm being cheered, like Chad Gable. He was shushing people, then just out of nowhere, everybody loves him. You know what I mean? It was like he just started leaning into it. Like you could see in like Otis' face when he started doing the caterpillar, and it was like, well, no longer I don't have to be mean face. I can roll my beard back. I can have fun with it. So
there you go.
It kind of is like a refresh and type thing. And all betrayals don't have to be bad. And I'll get to that when we get to the meat of things.
Brother Hugh, do you think that the betrayals that when fans watch these things, kind of, and it goes to, like I said, once again, the piggyback off of what the Belt King has pretty much said, do betrayals kind of help open up doors for wrestlers to either expand on characters or kind of relax and be themselves? Because it's like Brother Brandon said, that was a perfect example where Otis kind of shaved his face and had a clean cut look. But then after a while, him being himself kind of worked out in his favor. And we kind of saw the same thing with like the New Day. You know what I mean? Like New Day was the heels at one point, but it's like sometimes with these betrayals, it adds more depth to these characters and gives them another wrinkle. Do you think that sometimes these betrayals help make new superstars over time?
Absolutely. I think it definitely gives them an opportunity to evolve their character. And I can't think of a good example of it right now, but it gives the wrestler a better chance to dive deep into themselves and kind of just be more of themselves and maybe just present themselves to the world, to the universe a little bit better in a different light.
No, it's I agree with you 100%. And of course, I'm sure you brothers probably think the same thing because we've seen some of these craziest betrayals kind of jumpstart singles careers for a lot of these professional wrestlers. You think about Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. And I'll say for me, I didn't really take Matt Hardy seriously as a singles wrestler until he betrayed his brother. But like I said, we're not going to get into details because we'll save all the good juice for this part of the show. But who wants to go first? Let's just
hold on before we get into that, man. Impact is getting ratioed, and the reason is, did you see what happened on Dynamite tonight?
No,
I missed it.
Joker Sting.
Oh no! Come on, man! I thought he was gonna retire. No.
As soon as like
we don't need Joker Sting.
That's what I felt, but I thought
Sting is good at how he is. He's been presented very well. It was working, being Darby Allin's spiritual dad. Just let him keep doing that. And it's
Darby Allin's bringing him back, and then as soon as that happened, on it they tweeted, "Here's the best of Joker Sting."
Bro, first of all, Impact is killer. Like, every time somebody does anything, them and Ring of Honor's YouTube channel quickly like, hey, look.
Impact is the first one with it. They gonna remind you of what happened.
They
check
did
this out. On how Impact Plus did work. They quick to tell you.
Who returned to WWE from Impact and immediately was like, look at the best. I don't know if it was Kurt Angle or Sting or somebody.
I think it was RVD. Didn't they do something?
Yeah,
this
RVD
was the other day.
RVD or Jeff Hardy.
I'm not mad at Impact for that though. But
they know how to say. They got 1,000 episodes coming up. They might have a big celebration.
Sure.
Hey, WCW didn't have 1,000 episodes. I'm just saying.
Right, they doing something.
Yeah, but I thought that was funny because everybody's getting on there. It's like, man, y'all quick, y'all had that on deck.
They said, run that footage. Put it top 10 list. Put it out there.
That's crazy. I don't know who. First of all, who's at work at this time of hour? Like, who just sits there like, okay, just put the best of so and so. Like they just had these compilations sitting on deck waiting just in case. But where do we start, man? Like who wants to go first? Let's just jump into it. Who wants to talk about one of their most favorite, best, exciting, surprising betrayals in pro wrestling?
Well, I know I can get one out of the way right now. Y'all already know because he's my favorite wrestler. So I'm gonna get him out the way real quick because I know y'all don't want to talk about him. But
here we go, bro.
I watched it earlier. October 28th, 1999, SmackDown.
X-Pac he got specific.
Yeah, man. Bro. That's actually my favorite SmackDown of all time.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. It was the fact that Kane and The Rock, they both got taken out earlier during the show or whatnot, but then they came back and rescued Stone Cold from DX when DX was they reformed on Raw, and then they tried to take over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So
I actually had that on my list.
Did you really?
Did you?
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that one coming. I just didn't see that you said that, but okay.
And I also have another Kane one. That's Tori and Kane. That's kind of
hand in hand.
Yeah. But that was what, in like January or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in Baltimore, Maryland. So I was like, all right, I gotta include that one.
Yeah.
But, luckily, I didn't go, but I had to get my man's out the way real quick because I know y'all don't really want to hear about him. But
no, we hear about Kane in this context.
Those are one of the first ones that popped into my head, especially X-Pac. I don't like X-Pac for that.
I thought it was gonna be X-Pac was gonna be the first one because that was the one that kind of punched you in the gut the most.
It hurt, bro. It hurt.
When it comes to Kane, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the one that. That was the one that punched you in the gut. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even go back as far as with him in China at WrestleMania 15, and we thought, okay, DX is reuniting, only for Triple H to say nope. And then him and China was a part of the corporation, and that's how we got X-Pac and Kane as a tag team.
Yep.
And then Kane had trust issues.
Yep.
And that's what made
Suck
that
it.
right.
That was that case.
Speaking of which, real quick, I'm watching Judgment Day 2000. I remember this because Brandon was supposed to get me the tape, but his uncle had the tape, and he kept reminding me while we was at school. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get you tape as soon as my uncle ever give it to me," but he never got it to me. It's crazy that I still remember that story. But it's Eddie Guerrero in China, and this is like a year later, you know, where China's kind of being Rhea Ripley and Eddie's being Dominik.
Yeah.
For those, like, it's literally like the same thing. Like
It's
they
almost
never,
like
like they never kissed or anything. But it's like sort of like that romantic storyline. Like Eddie took her to the prom and everything.
Remember he
like,
saw waiting for flowers to come to the ring with?
Yeah, and China was looking good.
Remember they kicked him out of the Playboy Mansion. He was trying to get in.
Yeah.
And he had the women in the shower and she was about to kick the women's butt. Being in his locker room and stuff. It was a whole bunch of stuff happening with them.
Is this what it would look like? This match is the Radicals against each other because you got Eddie, Dean, and Perry Saturn.
Are we talking post Radicals or like one of those
is,
situations?
It looked like it's post Radicals, because they came in '99, right? Or the end of '99, beginning 2000.
Yep.
Yeah, end of '99. So yeah, this is post Radicals and look like it's a triple threat, or maybe it's a handicap match. Yeah, it looked like it's a handicap match because Dean Malenko's the European champion. I mean,
okay,
light heavyweight
champion.
Yeah.
He held
Eddie's
that
the
for a
European.
minute.
Yeah,
that was his belt for a while.
Yeah.
That was his belt.
I saw they put that storyline on No Mercy too.
They did.
Eddie wins the belt from Jericho. Jericho wins the belt, and then Eddie wins it the next night. But I that was
China, like he was trying to. You talking about the Intercontinental? When he was trying to protect China, or the European. I was thinking about the Intercontinental. Remember when he covered up China like he was trying to shield it and the ref counted? But I'm gonna say this about Betrayals, and I know we want to talk about it. It don't always have to be against a wrestler. And the thing I want to remind people, Betrayals aren't bad. One of them that sticks out, and it's in the modern era, is when my girl Bayley shedded the ponytail, came out, stabbed the Bayley buddies. Yeah, she made some little girls cry that night and bad, but if it wasn't for that turn, we would not have had the Thunderdome era of Bayley through the pandemic. We wouldn't have had some of these memorable matches that we could even talk about now. And I don't know. I think, and I'm gonna say this, I think it's time for another shift in Bayley. Because
wait a goddamn minute. What do you mean another shift?
Going too far now.
Because damage control. It's time for EO to really, because I think that EO is going to outshine her, and Bayley's going to become an afterthought if we don't do something different. Because EO, maybe Bayley's going to be our mouthpiece, but Bayley needs more than a mouthpiece.
So who needs to
Becky doing something outside of a title? Bayley can't do nothing as long as she's attached to EO.
I don't agree with you, sir.
Who needs to do the betraying then?
That's what I'm saying. Like Bayley is like her, like you said, you know, I don't know who started this thing, but you know, it's like this new thing where it's like I'm a part-time wrestler / manager to help my body like recover from being in a ring 300 days a year. And look, don't get me wrong, brother Brandon. I don't disagree with you because of what you said. I disagree with you because it's like, wait a minute. I was thinking the same thing. I don't trust Bayley. I thought she was going to hit EO in the face and try to, you know what I mean?
Right. But we are the Money in the Bank winners.
But it seems like, but then when you look at kind of EO, and it's like she's the new champion. You can tell like Bayley's kind of the mother of the group. They remind me of Edge and the Edgeheads when Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins were kind of with Edge. And he's you know slightly older than them, and it's like he's kind of there to kind of help them see it. Now, granted, he was the centerpiece of that situation versus Bayley's like. She acts as her mouthpiece, but if you notice, you know, as superior wrestler intellect guy, she does little things to help EO be a champion, right? So, first of all,
what you did to get her the title. She went and tore the ring up and said, "Come on, hurry up!"
And then they were in the match together. Like at one point they were tagging, at one point they were fighting against each other, and EO climbed right over. You know, so it's like we haven't lost Bayley, but even like when. Think about EO's exchange this past week when she jumped in a rope. She does her double foot drop kick. She does a kip up, does a front flip, does a little dance, and then they jump. What's what's their names? I'm tripping. I just literally drew a blank.
Charlotte and
Yeah, Charlotte and Bianca. Sorry,
Oscar.
Excuse me, it's Oscar. And they got the fighting, and then she got out of the ring, and then there was little things like her celebration. You saw stuff like Bayley lifting her arms up, like hold the belt up. You know what I mean? And it's like when I looked at that, I didn't think that. I'm like, okay, I don't think Bayley's going to turn on her now. You know what I mean? Because it's like it seems like she's. I don't want to say she's not 100% healthy, but it's like you can tell that ever since she's been back, she understands the importance of not saying I want to be on top. I'm the best wrestler in the company. Like, not that CM Punk's. I'm the best wrestler in the world. I want to be featured. I want to be the main event. I want to be everything.
I got to be the conversation. I got to be the conversation.
She's secure in who she is. Like, there's no diminishing. Like, even at the press conference, like EO's not at a point where she can carry her own. I think at one point she will be. Then you can have that. But it's like, I don't know. I don't mind her showing them rules. But hey, listen, there will be a section in the show where we talk about potential new betrayals of brewing. So hey, that's something to keep in mind.
And I got one more real quick. Go ahead. It wasn't a bad betrayal. It was one of the best things that happened in NXT when Roderick Strong turned on Pete Dunne and joined the Undisputed Era. That was a turn going right. That wasn't.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if it was, because remember, it was in the tag team tournament. That's where I think it's because Which got hurt that they had to put him with the group. But it just made sense to put him.
It was Bobby Fish, right? Bobby Fish got hurt.
Yeah, Bobby Fish got hurt. And then remember, he kind of like held the tag team belt.
He definitely was holding. It was definitely Freebird rules. Like, because
remember, Adam Cole was for a short time the tag team champion and the North American champion. It was like, oh, here, Roger, hold this for me until he come back.
There was always rumors of him being a part of that group anyway. When they kept saying, they're going to have this Ring of Honor style faction in NXT, and everybody's kind of like, what does that even mean? But
it worked.
It did work. So let me ask you a question: why do we like people more after they portrayed somebody? Do we just have an evil mindset? It's because think about it. We talk about Bayley when she turned heel. We talk about guys like Shawn Michaels when he turned heel. Look where his career went. Goodness gracious, he shed that skin. You know what I mean? You talk about you look at like Edge and Christian, you know what I mean? When Edge and Christian, kind of went their separate ways. It's like, why do we like people more after they betray somebody? And I'm going to get into one big one, and then there's another question I'm asking after that. But
I think Brother Brandon said it earlier. People just show more range, depth. Also, just that reset. Sometimes, it can be very, the greatest heel turn, the guy who is the greatest babyface and the greatest heel, Hulk Hogan.
I was thinking about that. I didn't know if you were going to go there this early, but you did. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Break that down. Do you think he needed to be the heel, or is it you think he turned heel too late?
Oh, come on, cut it out, Brother Brandon.
So
because remember, he was in WCW just there at some point.
No,
he wasn't WWF Hogan in WCW.
But so the thing is, and revisionist history will show us one way. When Hogan got to WCW, he was hot. He was red hot.
He was.
It did get stale, but in '94, like, all right, I'm gonna take you back. Just 8-year-old Brian, right? Didn't care about.
This is what we want to hear.
Yeah, didn't really care about WCW as much. Like, it was wrestling, so of course I watched it, but I wasn't asking for pay-per-views. But then Hogan joins. I didn't even have to ask. My mother was like, "Oh yeah, we ordering that," She's a Hulk Hogan mark, a Hulkamaniac. I mean, so we watched that, right? And it was fine. Obviously, Hogan's thing, then like the numbers are going up. But then after a while, that fan base that didn't get to see him, after they got to see him, it did get stale. But to make it seem like when he got there, people was already over him.
No.
I'm saying, do you think the heel turn was too late? Could have been done earlier in his WCW run?
No, because he wouldn't. He needed Scott Hall and Kevin Nash at the end of the day. That heel turn.
If it wasn't for them, he probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, who's going to team with the Dungeon of Doom?
That's what I'm saying, because it was really nothing. Like, for instance, when he came back to WWE and he was against The Rock and he had to turn back face. It was like that moment you knew if they didn't do it, it would have been a wasted opportunity. Was there an opportunity in WCW prior to Hall and Nash for him to do it?
No, because there were still monsters he was slaying. It might not have been like he still had to take down Big Van Vader. He was still taking down the Giant. You know, so he was still all his buddies that was in the Dungeon of Doom, he was still taking them out. And give or take, if you that ran out, you always had insert Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and whoever was in the Four Horsemen. It's just that
Sid Vicious.
Yeah, Sid Vicious is another one.
I was hoping you were gonna say.
Just whatever year it was.
Yeah, you know,
Pick a
so
year.
you just had the thing is you insert whoever, but Hogan's heel turn, as great as a heel he was, his heel turn does not work in any other capacity. He needed an invasion angle, an angle, like you said, what better way knew the company? He needed a realism because Scott Hall and Kevin Nash protected him because he was still very, what you gonna do, brother? Oh, I turned on you, brother. I'm the bad guy. He's still
very wrestling based.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was just Hogan changing his colors at first, but then you're like, okay, this is the Hogan.
They
this
had
is
to
the heel
teach him.
Hogan. Yeah, this is the heel Hogan.
You figure you're doing something for 10 years, 12 years, they got, you know, you got to get breaking out of those habits.
Yeah.
So
I think to what Brandon said earlier, it goes to what you said, where it seemed like when Hogan kind of turned his back on WCW, nobody looked at that like he betrayed Macho Man. First of all, they disrespected Macho Man. They looked at it like he turned his back on professional wrestling completely.
Yeah.
And you say, well, why? Like, of course, hindsight being 2020 now, and us being Monday morning quarterbacks, it's obvious is because we know what happened. But during those times, you got to remember, that was a spot that people thought was legitimate. Like, wait a minute, something's not right. They thought it was a legitimate invasion. They thought it was legitimately like legal ramifications were going to take place with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, you know, infringing on a different property. It was like
They went across the street, as you would say.
As Brian used to say, like they really said they really were like WWF really sent guys over to invade WCW. Like, and there was the angle that people were second guessing it. It wasn't something like people were like, oh no, this is part of the show. Like people were like, wait a minute, something's not right here. And for him to do that, his betrayal seemed more like a betrayal on what he built, which was modern day professional wrestling and the fans. Brownies, where were you when that happened? Did that affect you during that time, or did you catch it on the back end? Now you're a self-professed Hulkamaniac. We know you was kicking in your mother's womb when she was watching. Look at that. Look at that. Hulk still rule. He was saying his prayers and taking his vitamins.
They're going right, baby.
Look at that. So how do you feel as a fan when we have moments like this? We talked about Bayley betraying, you know, kind of turning her back on her gimmick, which was like a betrayal, but it wasn't on a particular person. You know, it doesn't get any bigger than when you have Hulk Hogan turning his back on the fans. As a fan, how did that make you feel when that moment kind of happened? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody saw that coming. Nobody in their right mind. Everybody just assumed either he was going to retire or disappear for a while and come back and maybe be a special attraction. But nobody ever said, "Oh yeah, he's going to turn into a bad guy." It wasn't even a thought. Like it wasn't even like we considered it with John Cena because we saw this happen before. But with Hogan, it was no way in the world.
It's I don't mention this person on the show too much, but my former co-host, long time ago, 12 years ago, said his said that my late uncle, there was only two things in wrestling that shocked him. Usually he could be like, okay, I seen it coming. Said two things that shocked him: Warrior beating Hogan clean and Hogan turning heel. Said those are two moments that legit shocked him. For me, we didn't order it. It was, you know, it's one of those shows I wish I would have watched live, but what I do remember vividly is, as always, going to the TV as soon as 8 o'clock or 7:57 and hearing Tony Schiavone saying so many kids threw their Hulk Hogan toys away last night. He betrayed WCW. And I was like, okay. But then the next week, because he wasn't there the next night, he had to go do something. So the next week when he came, Hollywood, brother, I'm all with it. That was the first time that I jumped ship and went to the hillside.
Really?
Yep.
And let me, if you don't mind, how old were you when this happened?
I was getting ready to turn 10.
Okay. All right. So you were about to tween out a little bit. So you were kind of right there on that cusp of society was changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's weird to think about it because I was a big Diesel fan. During 95 because, you know, that's what you're supposed to be. But when Diesel turned on HBK, I ain't like him.
Okay.
Contrary to what many people believe, what people may leave, I was actually a huge Shawn Michaels fan through 95. I just didn't want him to beat Bret. Like I was rocking with him.
That makes
And-
sense.
And then he beat Bret. Then it was like, okay, well, you're the champion now. Bret's gone. I'm rooting for you all the way through.
Mhm.
It wasn't until the, later stuff that made me not like Shawn. And now, I'm all in on producer Shawn. But Hogan's heel turn was the first. Bret's was the second. That wherever they went, I went. But yeah, it was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. As soon as Hogan went heel, I was team NWO. And the thing is, I wasn't rocking with Hall and Nash when they came and invaded. I don't think I really had much of an opinion. It was just like, all right, what y'all doing here? Why y'all beating up Macho Man? Because Hogan's on vacation or wherever he's filming something.
Right.
So I'm rocking with Macho Man and Sting heavy. I never really cared for Lex Luger because him and Macho Man, when he got there, him and Macho Man had a beef when Macho Man got there. So I ain't like Luger.
Okay.
But it was like, all right, whatever. But when they was, I'm rooting for WCW going into Bash at the Beach, but then I found out Hogan on there. All right, now I'm Team Hogan.
So let's take it back. What's your favorite? What's the? I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. Let's go by era. Let's go back to our childhoods. All right,
Yeah.
let's start there.
Ooh,
And what
yeah.
does work our way up? And it's no particular order. It doesn't have to be. What is your name a few of your best betrayals from the early years
Oh, yeah.
that you remember? So go ahead. But Brian, you might just kick it off since you kind of.
I'm gonna give y'all two. The
Okay.
first one I vividly remember is Marty and Shawn, or Shawn
Okay.
and Marty.
Shawn and Marty.
We that would just watch the Dark Side of the Ring. I was a huge Marty Jannetty fan. I like the Rockers.
You
'cause,
keep saying
covers.
Marty Jannetty fan. Now, were you a Marty Jannetty fan because of the Rockers, or you just like legit Marty Jannetty fan?
It was because of the Rockers, and
Okay.
then Shawn betrayed him. So because Shawn was the bad guy, I still like Jannetty. It also had a lot to do that he kept the music. So like 93 Royal Rumble, I'm rooting for Jannetty. That Raw when Jannetty beat him for the Intercontinental title, I'm rooting for Jannetty.
Did you like the new Rockers with Leaf Cassidy,
Heck
aka
no.
Al Snow?
I didn't hate him. It was just like, all right,
was goofy,
Jannetty's
bro.
back.
It was
but
a
then
joke,
it was
man.
like, come on, like who's
like
this
goofy.
Leaf? Yeah, like come on now. But by then, Shawn's already
Shawn Michaels.
he's Shawn Michaels, but he's the
HBK.
baby face.
Sure.
So he's essentially my second favorite wrestler on the card now.
Mhm.
Maybe third. Him and Razor a second to Bret. But the one that really stuck out to me early,
Mhm.
that I vividly remember getting a haircut was Dusty Rhodes being betrayed by Arn Anderson.
Really?
And-
That's
and-
man. That's
For some reason, it's one of the childhood memories.
Got
My Uncle Troy cutting my hair, and he's showing me we was either watching it or Saturday night, or they were showing clips from main event, or maybe he had a tape plan, and all of a sudden, I remember Dusty Rhodes coming out there and saying, "Son, I want to be your partner," and he said, "I want to seal it with a kiss, and a hug and a kiss." And so when Cody did that, I need my brother moment. It just took me back to
makes sense.
being
Full circle.
Yeah, it took me back to being 7, 8 years old watching that live or watching.
That's what wrestling's supposed to do.
Yeah.
How about No, go ahead. Was that
just one more from that era?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we get out of here is Ric Flair turning on Sting.
Did you ever trust Ric Flair though? Like, was that really shocking to you? Like,
It's
Flair,
a bunch of them, but
Flair was always
it
a
was
bad
a
guy.
memorable turn. I think it was a memorable turn.
95 when
Yeah, that was
the whole come on Sting, and he act like he hurt, and then all of a sudden, and Brandon probably watched this with his grandmother because I know that's your era, so I'll tag you in. But him sitting there, and then all of a sudden Ric Flair doing the strut, he comes in doing the
He
strut,
like,
and then
woo, woo.
boom,
Oh,
yeah.
it just you didn't see it because you like, oh, it was like a high tag, and it was like Ric Flair coming. It's like,
And mind you, this is
Not
the
on-
infancy of Monday Nitro leading up to this.
That's true.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
Nitro's not even 3 months, 6 months old, and Sting is like,
I thought it was early in it was early in Nitro, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, because it was.
I feel like it was like one of the first few episodes because that's what got you excited
You
about
absolutely right, because this is the climax was at World War III, November 95. Nitro started September 95. So yeah, you're right. and Sting goes into, he said, because remember, Sting would not trust him. He says, no, no, no. And then he's all right,
They wanted
finally.
to go at it alone. He didn't want nothing to do with Flair.
Yeah.
And then it was like, finally, he gave it. He like, oh, yeah, they going to do
But
this.
if
They gonna
you
do
screw me, I'm going to leave you for dead. That's the thing. Like, and I always go back with Sir Wilkins about Sting.
Oh, man. He can't say anything.
Yeah. But
So
like,
disrespectful.
as a child, man,
Sting was a guy, yo. Come on.
Sting was just cool. He was just that guy.
He was a guy,
like,
man.
he was just cool. The face, what he was going to do next. It was like, I remember just wanted to say, oh, how you going to paint his face this week?
Yep.
What are you going to have? You know, oh, look, that's pretty cool. Like the red and blue going this way. The what you call it? I feel like it was just the attraction to see him. You know what I mean? Like, even though you know you was going to get a good match or entertaining, but it was like, and I never, when you said that strut, that took me back because it was like, like, yeah, he's the dirtiest player in the game is his label, but you didn't expect it during that like you did all of that to get with Sting, and then it's like, this is what you did.
How about that, man? How about it?
Brother Brandon, brother Hugh, you guys got one from your childhood? One of those betrayals
that's mine, so I'll let Hugh take it.
I definitely got one. I'm gonna let Brother Hugh go if he has one, because I definitely got one, and I want to hear what you guys think about this moment, because we're gonna take like a slight step up, and we're gonna go into the new generation a little bit. Is where when I was a kid threw me all the way off. But go ahead, Brother Hugh, you got one?
Yeah, back in the day, what was it, 94? I'm looking
Okay,
at
yep.
Bret.
You say what?
I'm looking at Owen and Bret in 94.
Oh man,
Golly,
oh, I know we was that far.
Was 93 in the 94?
Yeah.
Man. I was always a fan of Owen anyway, but I felt like he was better than Bret. Just because he had all of the same qualities as Bret, but he had more charisma to him. Like, he just had more energy to him.
He definitely had a big personality.
Yeah, big personality, and plus, like I said, he moved like a cruiserweight.
He did.
Plus, he was on a heavyweight scale. He was a technical wrestler. He had all the fundamentals. He was a 5'2" all-star.
Loved Owen Hart.
Yeah, it just kind of threw me for a loop because, you know, the Hart Dynasty, they was the type. Basically, it was the bloodline back in the day.
Facts.
And then all of a sudden, you see the jealousy starting to kick in,
Bro.
which I understand.
Look at that.
Owen Hart on WWF Raw.
Bro, I got chills. I swear you took me back. Like, literally, I had a moment, bro. As soon as I saw the logo, bro, it took me all the way back. That's why I still do this stuff to this day, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like, you can't see it on my arms. I had a moment when I just saw that. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Hugh.
No, I was just saying, it just surprised me. It surprised me, but you kind of saw it brewing with Owen and the jealousy portion of it. Bret was the man. Bret was the face.
Rumble?
Yeah,
that's the
man.
Royal
Sega Genesis, dude.
Yes.
Come on,
That's
man.
it right there.
Yeah, yo,
Like
these
I'm back in the 90s for a second.
these moments, like, you can play the new games and all that stuff, but
something about the old graphics just like,
Yes, sir.
no, it's crazy you mentioned that, Brother Hughes, because I remember it told you everybody knows. Well, Brian Nation knows this. I don't know if you guys know this, or we've had this conversation at length. We got to do a wrestling tape show. I don't know if we got to start doing trying to figure out how we do bonus shows, and maybe we can put those on Patreon or something like that. But you know, everybody has their coming up. You know, us kids. You know, we black kids growing up in the city.
In the chat,
they are, man. They on fire, man. We trust me.
Get to those.
We're gonna get to everything y'all talking about. We definitely will, man. We appreciate you guys. If you're not involved in the chat right now, trust me, jump in. It's crazy in there right now. But the best of Survivor Series tape, you know, when they first talk about the match between the Hart brothers, you know, the Hart Dynasty, as you called them, when it was Bret, it was I want to say Keith. No, was it Keith? No, it was Bret. It was Bret. Was it Keith or Bruce?
It was Keith and Bruce.
Bruce, yeah. Owen and Bret against you know, Shawn Michaels and, you know, his Knights,
Greg the Hammer Valentine,
and
other two dudes.
And Owen Hart got eliminated. He blamed Bret, and it was just like, man. And then just
so mad
when you watch that Best of Survivor Series tape and you watch Bret Hart's match against Bob Backlund, and they had the match where he had British Bulldog and Owen Hart in the corner of Bob Backlund. It's so dramatic. They do everything in slow motion. They play super slow music, man. But that rivalry was definitely so. That's Chris. I didn't forget about it, but I wouldn't even think about that, man. That's got to be one of the most monumental betrayals, especially during that era, man. And it was so real because it was so heartfelt. But it was special because they come from a wrestling family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I used to be so mad at Jerry Lawler for all the stuff that he said about Stu and Helen Hart, but they loved every last bit of it. It's because they grew up in the business and they were okay. Like, oh yeah, we love the stuff that he was saying some stuff like them being in the graveyard, all kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, man, Bret versus Owen was insane.
Families, real quick. Families. This is what I was explaining to my sister the other day. So she watched SummerSlam. And then she was like, I gotta see the match because she knew what happened, but to actually see it play through. And it's funny because I recorded her reaction to Jimmy turning on Jay, and she was livid. She's like, don't tell me. So then of course she goes, now she wanted to see SmackDown. And she's like, how are they doing all this? I said, you got to understand. I said, they're from a wrestling family. When you're from a wrestling family, all that stuff we would deal with, that goes out the window. Like, they get it, you know, it's a whole difference. And you hit it right on the head with especially Jerry Lawler and the Hart family.
Yeah.
Listen, so take a slight trip with me, man. We coming out of that golden new generation era. We're gonna take a step up.
Wait. Hold on, real quick before we step out of that era.
Yeah, by all means.
Thought about it. Sergeant Slaughter, basically against the U.S.
Oh gosh.
At that time,
with the purple strap.
I didn't take that because I knew somebody was gonna get it. I knew y'all.
I thought that was given. We knew that was
I knew somebody was gonna get it.
Bro, I agree with you. Yes, the WWF Best of Survivor Series and Mania were like my two go-to tapes every day of the week. I learned so much wrestling history based off those two tapes, and I had to put that out there. But you are absolutely right. When I found out as we became grown, like Sergeant Slaughter's family had to be relocated.
Yes.
Like he was dang near with his protection, you know, when they thought he was being an Iran sympathizer, especially during that time, like, you know, Gulf War era. Man, man, this is getting a lot deeper than I originally. Casual wrestler, you beat me to it. This is literally what I was. This is literally what I was going to say next. This is why you gotta, bro.
First time.
This is why you have to be.
I wrote that down.
I literally was going to get into this next. I was going to ask you, brothers, where were you when freaking Paul Bearer turned his back on the Undertaker? Now you got to mind you, as a kid,
for mankind of all people.
The psychopath. Now, mind you, let me take you back to young realness. Now, mind you, I'm watching wrestling on Saturday mornings. That's how I caught up with my stuff. My dad hugged the TV at night, so he made us go to bed early, so we couldn't watch TV. I found out what it really was about, so we couldn't watch Raw enough. But we caught up on there's Saturdays. You had to watch. You had to watch Live Wire or whatever, you know, Saturday, whatever the Saturday show was at the time. And I remember when Mankind's debuting, we were like, bro, what is up with this dude? Like, this guy was pulling his hair out. He had a leather mask on. He's insane. So then, obviously, Undertaker and Mankind get into it. And Undertaker was always been this big, polarizing, intimidating figure. And for him to have that moment where he raises his hand towards the urn and Paul Bearer looks at him and turns his back on him, he shakes his head and turns his back on him. And Undertaker looks so hurt and betrayed. I've never seen a grown man that big look so devastated. And I got scared immediately. I said, what in the world is going on? Right. And then for him to strike the Undertaker with the urn, mind you, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years prior, all you know is Paul Bearer and Undertaker. And for him to all of a sudden just turn on, I was like, my mind was blown. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I was like, yo, what is going on right now? It's no way in the world. Paul Bearer's turning on the Undertaker. I was blown. As a kid, it messed me up, man. Now I just felt.
You muted.
My bad. 1 second. Yeah, microphone came out. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not like Taker was a bad guy or anything like that, but it's just like, man, they were. I don't remember seeing anything, especially my age, where a manager would turn on the superstar. You may see tag partners turn on each other. In some situations, you see relatives turn on each other. I never thought I would see the day of that, but man, that threw me for a loop, man. But
or real quick, unless there was like a Bobby Heenan where they had somebody else.
Bobby Heenan couldn't be trusted though. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Right. Bobby Heenan was always a weasel. So it's like certain guys, and you're absolutely right, Brian Nation. Certain guys, it's like, like Ric Flair. Ric Flair was a bad guy his whole career. So when he turns good, it's like it's a good chance Ric Flair's going to turn back bad. Bobby Heenan was always a weasel. That was always his reputation. Like, that's like classic Freddie Blassie turning into a good guy. It's not going to happen. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? This guy was getting glassed on his eye for how much of a bad guy manager he was. So to see something like that, man, it just threw me off. But
It definitely
that's-
human.
it did though, and that's a great point. Speak on that, brother. It definitely humanized him.
Yeah, man. I'm like at that time. I remember at that time I was like, "Whoa, hold on. Undertaker's not even supposed to be like human, like real.
That's an
He's
excellent
not
point.
supposed to show emotion at all."
Mhm.
But then, like you
Mhm.
said, that expression on his face, it kind of almost broke my heart. Honestly, I ain't even gonna lie.
No, but remember the match.
Yeah,
He was calling for the urn because he needed the power.
Bro,
And Paul Bearer
he turned his
He's
back
like,
on him, bro. He
"I
looked
need
so
my urn."
devastated.
That was the thing. It was like I just remember him looking like, because remember the urn gave him his power, and it was
his
like
power. Yeah,
Paul Bearer turned around, was looking at him, was like, mm-mm. I was like, wait a minute. That was the scary part.
see what I like is how they revisited that betrayal years later.
Full circle. Yep.
Right at the worst pay-per-view ever, probably. Great was it Great American Bash, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
You calling that the worst?
It's one of them.
It's not worse than
It's
WrestleMania 9. I'd say that much.
Wow. Wow.
You talking about when he
I was nice to you. They the ones who trolling.
Yeah, you're right. My bad, bro. It's my fault. My bad, bro. That was unnecessary. That's not you.
Are you talking about the cement when he got buried alive?
Cement,
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how they
so
pulled that
random,
off.
because wasn't the Dudley Boys in like the Undertaker corner for some random reason?
What?
Like
what
they were
I thought it was going against them.
They
that
were-
It didn't make sense, and it was just
It
like
was something weird with the Dudleys, right?
yeah, the Dudleys he was facing the Dudleys, but I don't really remember the storyline because it was whack at that point in time.
They were pretty much saying that Undertaker was soft and he had lost his step, and he like said, like, you know what, Paul Bearer was an anchor to me, so I had to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kane didn't do that. He obviously was a good son. You know, Kane chased Edge. remember Kane when chasing at the Edge was pushing him. So that's a show for a different day. But you know, Kane's a good son. But yeah. Go ahead.
I was to say that was crazy. Wasn't that the whole way they wrote Paul Bearer off? Period.
Yeah, kind of,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. But
He was
They did
dead.
a better way.
so you guys ready to move into the next era? Because this is obviously the biggest era. It's the Attitude Era. This is easy. Monday Night Wars era. We talked about Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels. We talked about Paul Bearer and Undertaker. We talked about Owen and Bret. We talked about Ric Flair and Sting. We talked about Hogan turning his back on professional wrestling. So now we take a quick step into later years when the business was changing. Go ahead, brother. You got something?
No, I was about to say, hold on, real quick before we move on. We got to throw Medusa in there, correct?
You probably could.
We have to throw Medusa.
I mean, like, she's right there. Like, she's right there on that area with Undertaker and Paul Bearer. So we're still there. She turned her back on WWF. Like, that's betrayal. I don't think it gets any more betrayal.
That's a spark. It's a shot in to start the war.
Yeah.
And she's hurting for that. I don't care what anybody say. Like, and what I mean, her legacy is hurt because for so many years, WWE like kept her out of like
they erased her everything.
Yeah. And now
she
like
didn't
walking
exist
her
for a
back,
while, right?
bro.
It's just like that. They just skipped over it. Like,
Bro, it's no reason. Like when I met her in Philly, like it's no reason for all that she's done that people wouldn't come up to her and just be like super happy to see her. Like she should be, in all honesty, for all that she's done, she should be on the level of like a Trish Stratus.
Facts. Big facts.
Yeah, but because of that, it hurt her legacy.
She lost a lot of years. Yeah, and I think she missed out. think she missed out on a lot of money too.
Oh,
yeah, especially during the retro eras. You know, especially like the mid 2000s when they were retro and everything. Like, you know what I mean? That was DVD era. Everybody was getting DVDs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Think about
the money was coming for. It was just flowing.
Bro, that era is what saved Dusty Rhodes' family. That's where it said that the sell of his DVD came out. He said that saved my family's life. And then not too long after, he said it. I remember. I don't know when Cody said it, but he was talking about, this is before his WWE interviews, before he even came back. He was saying like, I think he did this at the presser of
I think it was Chris. Was it Chris or Ariel Wadi? One of those interviews he did.
I thought it was Sam. It wasn't Sam. Sam Roberts. What? It wasn't Sam.
Why do I feel like he did that? Because he did so many Chris and what you call it? He did so many of those interviews.
Listen, it might have been, but I just remember him saying like, "No, we were we were broke. And he said, but that DVD saved us. He said, because the money, I remember it was when DX came back, they had united and they were trolling McMahon, and McMahon, they had all these hijinks and shenanigans going on backstage. And they had a big Dick Worley, the writer that was oiling himself up with the baby oil and dancing in front of Vince with the chicken. And then I remember Dusty Rhodes was like, "Get my new DVD, daddy. It just came out. The American Dusty Rhodes, daddy." And I was like, "Oh, snap." And I remember that era, not realizing that, man, like, he was financially in a rough space. But that DVD kind of like, really helped. Like I think that led to like almost like a Legends deal. Because like I said, that was around the time where they started retro and everything. You know what I mean? So imagine Medusa being in that space where she would have gotten that opportunity to get those things. So, man, that's sometimes you talk about a dark side of the ring, man. When betrayal can cost you money.
Ooh, that's an
book
episode of the wrestling realm.
Book it.
They listening.
Yeah, they always do. So with that being said, like I said, I think it's safe for us to step into 90s, 7, 98, 99-ish era.
Yeah.
And this is the money. Everybody wants to know this because listen, we got some crazy ones in the chat. I want to make sure we get to them. I hope we already been here for about an hour now. But good brothers, talk to me. What was one of the biggest betrayals, one of the best betrayals you remember from, I guess, modern Attitude Era, Monday Night Wars, right in the mix of that? Who's got
it?
One?
It was done with one simple move. Cue the eyebrow.
Wow.
When Rock kicked Farooq out the Nation.
I was gonna say the Nation was the one I remember the most.
Yeah,
because it was like
when he just did that, and then they all of a sudden beat up Farooq.
Yeah,
like him joining was already a thing, but him taking over as the leader of the Nation of the Domination and the ruler, skyrocket to the top.
Once again, man, it goes back to what we talked about before, where once again a betrayal skyrockets somebody to the moon. Something's wrong with us, man. Like we're celebrating all the wrong things in life. Like I'm starting to look at it myself with a different level of introspection. Like, man, what are we celebrating here, man? Like, what are we doing? But I think that was one of those like earth-shattering moments for professional wrestling, not just for The Rock. It's because him getting that platform to be able to carry that load and be the centerpiece for that, it led to it pretty much, to me, it jump-started what we would, see it just a short while after that. You know what I mean? Look at Justin Rich definitely said this. Look at this. We're messed up in the group of individuals, man, wrestling fans. It's the safest place for us to do. Like, we love people doing evil things. That's just what it is.
Make sure y'all check out Justin's SummerSlam reviewer too, by the way. He's doing an excellent job. He's like literally self-taught in content creation. So he's out here.
Be on point.
Yeah.
Justin Rich is getting it out here, man. He hit the ground running, and he's running very, very fast. So definitely check out his YouTube channel.
A year in this.
Just a year? I couldn't tell, man.
Talk about right,
Yeah. So shout out to our good brother Justin Rich, man. But yeah, The Rock turned on Farooq, man. I don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the Nation much more when The Rock was in charge.
Yeah.
I'm only supporting what we said to be true, but I don't think anybody was too mad about it. I don't know nobody said that's crazy. Now, older people were. Like my aunt didn't watch wrestling. So like she was pissed.
Really?
Yeah,
when he betrayed Farooq?
Yeah, like she was I don't know why, but she was a new gen lady, and she was into that stuff, and she was pissed when, like, she was mad. First of all, she was mad at Farooq because when Farooq debuted, he kicked Ahmed Johnson. His kidneys made his kidneys bleed and stuff like that. I remember being like at my grandmother's house, and her mother lived up the street. So, and I remember her and my brother was arguing about that. Like my brother's, I'm probably 8 or 9, so he's about 11 or 12, and they going back and forth about Farooq and all this. And all of a sudden, now she's hurt about the fact that he's been betrayed by The Rock. And I will say that the Nation became much more entertaining with The Rock in the middle of it. But what else are some of our favorite Attitude Era betrayals?
Oh man, when Bret turned on the U.S.
That's another big one.
And when he said, "Look what they've done to you and me," he looked at Owen. And if y'all ever got a chance, man, Bret Hart's book is like one of the greatest reads in all of wrestling. One, because Bret took notes throughout his whole life.
You've been telling me that. I think I had the book, and I'm struggling.
I read it on Apple, and I hope there's an audio version because it's a book I would actually check out again. But he talked about how Owen popped him. Like if you go back and look at that, you see Bret got a smirk on it. He's trying his best to hold it in because Owen is so as
Known
always
for it.
so
Known for it.
dramatic. And then he's like, he's like crying and he's like spitting and like all these crazy tears. And then that for me, that was when I was like, all right, well, forget the US. I'm with Bret. So everybody,
I was too, brother.
yeah, everybody who Bret didn't like, I didn't like.
No, I mean I think that makes sense though. I mean, once again, that's another one of those betrayals where it's like he didn't really turn on any particular wrestler.
Yeah,
but he kind of turned on what he used to be and what he represented. He represented tradition, the industry that he kind of made popular. I don't care. He'll never get the respect that he deserves because of what he didn't do financially. You know what I mean? But like, let's not fake like he didn't carry that era. Like, come on now. Like and that's no disrespect to HBK, no disrespect to Diesel on them. Like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart are two guys that for the business to not be in the best place, the reason that it wasn't in a bad place was because of those guys. They kept the business afloat.
The reason it kept going was because of when you subtracted all of the steroid scandals, they said we got this. And so without them, we might not be having this conversation today.
Exactly. And like I said, you had your big guys that filled in, right? You had Diesel, you had Sid. I call them sideshow attractors, where it's like, they're just kind of there to kind of, hold a place. But let's keep it 100. You know who carried that generation? Like Shawn Michaels, HBK, Shawn Michaels. Man, any more?
So I don't know if this was during the Attitude. This might have been after the Attitude, but I feel like it was early enough that it could be considered when Christian turned on Edge. Because
that was during the Attitude era. That's towards the end.
It was towards the end, but I just remember that this beloved team of heels, and you could tell Edge was going one way. They had to do something different with Christian, but it kind of sparked a Christian to say, "I have this in me if I need it."
Yeah,
but Christian, I feel like Christian has to go to the darkest of dark side to be the heel. Or he's doing the beloved face it. Because think about his Christian's pop throughout his career when he returns somewhere or when he does his face work, it's the back. But when he does his heel, it's like, kill this man. Nobody wants him around because he's going dark. And I remember when he told Edge, that's when they were brothers, and he was like, I wish you would have been aborted in a womb or something crazy like that. I was like, it was so.
Hey, man, it's a little intense.
Yeah, and then one man could chair tell everything, and it was like, oh wow, this is bad. And it takes
those some of my favorite matches though. Edge vs. Christian 2001, Unforgiven, and No Mercy. Those are some of my favorite matches.
Well, was that the first time he did the one man concerto?
I thought he did it in the program, like leading up to it.
Okay, no, Edge got him back at that, right?
Probably.
Yeah, that's when Christian was taken off TV for a little bit, but I just remember that turn because it was. I was heard, it was shocking, and it was just pure evil.
Not lying. Well, let's keep in that same spirit, man. Let's keep on rolling down memory lane, man. I think we're at a good pace, man. Let's keep going. Let's go into the mid 2000s. It seems to me this is when all the crazy betrayals happen. Yeah, go ahead, brother Hugh.
Real quick, I got another one about Steph, her daddy.
Yes. Which wait. Stephanie on Vince. Or Stephanie Vince on Stephanie first.
Well, Vince was already known for stabbing people in the back.
It's me, Austin.
Yeah, I thought about that one too, but he was already known for that. He was a heel. So, but Stephanie, she was the princess. She was sweet. She was innocent, and she was rolling with her father at that time.
I did not see that coming, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
I was definitely.
All I remember is Triple H was standing over there with the sledgehammer. I was like, oh my gosh, he's about to hit her. Next thing you know, the hug, the kiss. I was like, oh my gosh, really happened. She turned heel.
Bro,
hated Triple H, bro. Hated Triple H. It definitely did. That we know people talk about like one thing that Edge did in his Hall of Fame speech was he thanked the leader. He said, man, she brought me being a bad guy to a different level. Like me just having her made people hate me that much more. You can say the same goddamn thing, Brother Hugh, about Triple H, just like you said,
Yeah.
when Stephanie kind of turned on her father, the boss's daughter, especially when they kind of got in control. And I was just like, come on, man. Like I remember one line that Triple H said that just pissed me off just to a T. And I don't know why it bothered me so much, but I remember something was going on and he got into it. Mick Foley was commissioner, and he got on the Mick's face and said something. I ought to knock whatever teeth, something that you still have left, blah, blah, blah. And Triple H, and Mick Foley got up and said, you're not gonna lay your hands on me at all, because if you do, I'm gonna find you for every hit that you, whatever the case may be. He looks at Steph and goes, Steph, give me my wallet. This could get expensive. And I got so pissed off, like, yo, who the heck do you think you are? I said, this guy is pissing me off because you're the boss's daughter's husband. He said, Steph, get my wallet. This could get expensive. I was pissed. I said, Drew, I hate Triple H.
Yeah. But you know what? Those heel turns, right?
Mhm.
I want to take it back real quick because while we're in the mid-2000s, this is the heavy going to school, finding out what happened.
There you go.
A lot of them, did y'all see them live? Because a lot of these that happened on pay-per-view, I found out either that Monday,
yeah.
or if nobody saw the pay-per-view, I found out that Tuesday when everybody had saw Raw. Did y'all see him live, or was it the same way?
Same way, man.
Okay.
Same way.
About 50-50.
Yeah.
My mother wasn't paying $30 for the pay-per-view. $30? What? I ain't paying for $30. I'm like, come on, man, please. No.
$29.95.
She like, need to wash some dishes down there and do that laundry. You be like, all right, never mind.
WrestleMania was $34.95.
I remember the year with the $49. I was devastated.
Yeah.
Where has the economy going? $49.
I'm like, oh man, what the heck? That's going to take my cable bill through the roof.
But let's go on the one that's kind of obvious, man. That get you. He said this one. Evolution turning on Randy Orton.
So can I say something about that before we dive into that?
Come on, go ahead.
Why didn't we let Evolution breathe? It felt like it was here. We gave him all the titles. We built up Randy. He was Intercontinental World Champion. It was like, no man, we need Triple H back on top.
Brandon, that's the exact reason why they not in my top 10. That exact reason.
You don't feel like it was just rushed?
Here's what I'm thinking. This is just speculation. This is just the realist thoughts. When you look at it, once again, hindsight being 2020, being a Monday morning quarterback, a faction like the NWO was meant to be put together for the sake of the NWO, right? DX, intentional. Sometimes groups like Evolution were only put together to help these guys get along. They weren't meant to be groups, right? You see the same thing with the Hurt Business. We're kind of disappointed that it ended, and it was like, well, McMahon's idea is like, well, it wasn't meant to be. In fact, it was literally meant to get Bobby Lashley over. And even almost with the Shield was meant to get Dean Ambrose over. You know what I mean? And then they just kept playing hot potato with, they had three guys that ended up being three Hall of Fame talents that end up having three separate Hall of Fame careers as singles that now completely overshadow anything they ever did in the Shield, right? And I think we saw the same thing with Evolution. It literally, that group was only put together to help get these young guys going to create
to make Batista. I feel like it was to make Batista.
I mean, it was well, you know, it was Randy first. Randy was in the group first, you know, and then and of course they wanted to go like Mark Jindrak, I believe it was.
Yeah, he was supposed to be, but then he kept messing up. So Batista got that spot.
But then they shoot the vignettes for him, all that stuff.
Yeah, they had all this stuff ready for him to go, and it's like, as like you said, you wonder why I didn't let it breathe. I said because I don't think it was ever intended to be long term anyway. You know, Triple H was like, look, I'm gonna be on top, but. Same thing with the Undertaker. When the Undertaker went down to FCW and started working with Batista, he's like, man, you might got something. I need you to get this stuff together so we can make some money up there. It's like anytime you have a main event guy and a top guy, Bayley does the same thing. It's like, well, we got to create that next superstar because now we have to have new opportunities, new feuds, and Evolution did exactly what it did. First of all, Triple H was already there. You know, I was still sick of him then. It revitalized. No, it revitalized the career of Ric Flair. Ric Flair had another run in his career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did.
Another Hall of Fame run. Like at that age, to be that productive and everything that he did. And then, like I said, we got Randy Orton and Batista. So I don't think it was meant to be long term. But man, is it me or does it not seem fitting for jealous Triple H to sit there and turn on the new kid on the block like Randy Orton, that the youngest world champion at the time at 24. Previously, at the time, it was Rock at 27, I believe. You know what I mean? And kayfabe intact. You know what I mean? He was supposed to be the young gun, the young lion to lead the WWE into the next Next phase, and Triple H says, "Nah, not yet, buddy." And then he would turn around and try to do the same thing to Batista, and Batista kind of got wind of, and then he became a single superstar. But I think it was monumental because it's Randy Orton and Triple H was one of my favorite feuds. It just didn't end well at WrestleMania 25. Sorry.
No, it's the truth.
I
think everybody remembers the.
Yeah,
it was like you just felt it coming. You felt it coming. Like this don't even feel like a Triple H celebration. He's really putting somebody up. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. You know what I mean? As soon as he put the it just felt like it was coming. So I don't know if that was a betrayal, that more like we saw it happening.
So what else we have in the mid 2000s? Like I said, I'm sure there's a ton. Do we have anything outside of WWE, Brother Brandon? See, we said, go ahead, brother.
Casual says every Bullet Club leader.
Well, see, that's I'm gonna get into that pretty much next because that's almost like a rites of passage. And if you notice, I put that graphic on the on the thumbnail for tonight's show. But I was thinking maybe in TNA. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember anything completely earth shattering and said, "Oh wow, I didn't see that coming." That was detrimental. Like TNA during that time, and once again, Brother Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like the Wild Wild West at the time. You didn't know whether who was coming or going. Like I didn't trust anything or anybody. This is pre 2010 Hogan, Eric Bischoff era. You know what I mean? You didn't know who was what. Like later on, we had like Jeff Hardy turning heel. For the first time in his career, which I don't know if it's stuck or not.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't stick. It was just like, for instance, AJ Styles and D'Lo Brown. It was like,
like when they joined Fortune and stuff like that. Like I was like, I'm not buying that, man. AJ Styles,
I said D'Lo. I'm talking about early. I remember because they were tag team.
I forgot D'Lo was when the Japanese Tajiri pants in TNA.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It really didn't stick. But a lot of the TNA stuff happened. Like I'm gonna give you this tidbit. When Jeff Hardy joined, and he wanted to become a heel when he turned on Kurt Angle and everybody. That was during the Bischoff era. That was one of the big things with TNA. But before that, the whole formation of Team Canada. I don't know if you remember that and how they kept bringing members in. And I don't know if you remember when like Bobby Roode joined, Petey Williams. But during that time, it was crazy because
Eric Young,
Christopher Daniels turned on AJ only because he wanted to be X Division champion.
Yeah, well, see, that's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Because it's
so it was warranted. It wasn't nothing like earth shattering. A lot of that earth shattering things happened later on, like when Jeff Jarrett, of course, was trying to still be a king of the mountain when Christian turned heel. It wasn't nothing like noteworthy. A lot of the stuff came from. I was just gonna ask you about ROH because I got one name for ROH that's going.
Let's freaking go there. We didn't have anything really earth shattering TNA, so let's head over
because it was later on in TNA, but it's later in TNA. But I'm just saying. But during this time in ROH, because it happens even now. Anybody with Kevin Steen.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I
that's the that, and I have one more from ROH. Kitty King.
Oh yeah, when he turned on Red Titus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
wait, you mean he turned on Red? I thought he just left the company.
No, he had a singles run. Didn't he have a singles run before he left?
Remember, that's how they spun it because he went to TNA.
He just showed up on TNA Thursday.
Yeah. That was later.
They wanted him that Saturday.
That is a betrayal though, because he
4
was
weeks worth of shows.
Yeah,
but then he showed up in TNA, and then he had to come back, and they had to do it like it was a turn.
Yeah, no, listen, that counts because I remember he was he joined up with MVP and Samoa Joe. Weren't he with that group?
Lashley.
Was it Lashley? No, because it was Samoa Joe, and it was pre-Hurt Business because they were called like the Beatdown Club.
Yeah,
and that's when Kenny King was out there trying to cut promos, and they gave him a little more ring time, and he's like, I could stop being a Chippendales dancer and all that kind of stuff.
Right, he was trying to do something different.
No, but that was that was messy because I do remember that though. So let's stick with Ring of Honor. Let's take it to the land of the rising sun. New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, it got brought up by the casual wrestler. He talks about every Bullet Club leader. It's like tradition. It's obvious you kind of know what happens. You come in, you lead the Bullet Club, you do your thing, and then that contract is up. You don't stay. You already know whoever's next up is going to lead the mutiny against you. And it's going to take you out. I don't did AJ and them beat up Finn Balor? That's the one I don't remember.
I don't remember
No, I
that.
think Finn just left, didn't he? And
Finn
AJ
just left, and I remember when Finn left, AJ debuted, and he debuted with the Bullet Club T-shirt on, and at that point, that's when the Bullet Club became the Bullet Club.
That was the
And-
replacement. That was the
Yeah.
suitable replacement.
That's what took the Bullet Club from New Japan to around the world, in my
to
opinion.
mainstream.
Definitely mainstream. It's because everybody wanted to know what the heck AJ Styles was going to be doing post TNA stink, because once again, that was a messy situation. You know what I mean? I remember being pissed when him and Magnus never got their full Nick Aldis. They never got that actual match to see who was going to be the undisputed TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Like, it was a run-in. I was like, why are you doing a dusty finish, man? It's AJ's last match. Let them go out and let them lose clean. But
But
it was
remember, before that, AJ went through all of that Aces and H stuff. Fortunately, like AJ was
weak,
just
bro.
insert the AJ into anywhere possible,
Mhm.
but never let him be AJ, because the Aces and H was the worst, because
And don't
he
forget that.
joined, and then he turned back face, and it was like,
And don't
that's when he
forget
had
that.
his soccer mom hair starting.
That's what I was about to say when his head. Remember, and then he got that chick pregnant, and it was just like, did she find out she was? And he came back all emo acting.
But
He was
wasn't
like-
that Serena Deeb or somebody?
I don't know. I can't keep up. That
Who
was
was
just
I ain't watch.
Okay.
I
know
remember
some-
one heel turn. I mean, betrayal.
what's that?
Was it Brooke Hogan or Hulk Hogan? Then she joined up with Bully Ray.
With Bully Ray. That's why I didn't want to. That was on my list, but it wasn't worth it.
That's
mentioned.
like, I feel like Brandon's like embarrassed by his relatives. He's like, oh, just I don't want to bring it up, but since you
Yeah,
did,
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was like, that was during the time that was like, why would you give, never mind. Continue.
anyways, every Bullet Club leader, AJ was thrown out by Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega had his run, and then he was thrown out by who beat up Kenny Omega? It was Jay White.
wasn't it? No, but yeah, Switchblade, yeah.
Yeah. Switchblade Jay White, and then Switchblade Jay White just got beat up by
No, it wasn't.
no,
Who did he get beat up?
Tama Tonga them turned on the Young Bucks, I believe.
Okay.
Because they the Guerrillas of Destiny left the Bullet Club.
Right.
Which nobody saw it coming, but then again, you got to remember they were fighting to be who was the best tag team. You know what I mean? They're both brothers. You know what I mean? So that was kind of obvious, but it was like there's a tradition. But I forgot who's in charge. Is it David Finlay?
It is now. He's in charge.
David
Now.
Finlay, he's in charge of the Bullet Club fraternity now.
But remember, they kicked out Adam Cole.
They got him out of there in Ring of Honor. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and even I honestly thought they was going to kick out Marty Scurll out, but he just faded into the background for reasons.
Yeah, oof, man, you talking about somebody ruined their whole career. He was on the up and up, but yeah.
No, you know what ruined his career? He ain't signed his contract at the same time they did. Because he was the one left behind. Remember?
Yeah, because he was still booking Ring of Honor, but then
Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks said, "We gone. We going over here."
And then he caught that charge. He wanted to be the man. He caught that charge, and there's that.
Dylan said he said they killed Adam Cole. That was a pretty
They
bad beat.
definitely they beat the dog bricks out of Adam Cole. They did him dirty, like real bad. But let's continue in the modern era, man. We rocking and rolling, man. And that's for some reason there's a lot of moments that stood out in this modern day era. Let's go to NXT. One of my favorites, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Man. When I broke up. I don't know why.
Talk about the match first with AOP. I just knew they was gonna win.
That was the best match. AOP. Didn't somebody get hurt that match?
Huh?
It looked like somebody got hurt that match. Who was it?
Yeah, that's when Ciampa got hurt, but they
yeah.
still went with the angle. But remember, you was so vested in that story, you wanted Ciampa to get healthy so Johnny could get him back.
Ciampa's heel turn was revolutionary, and I felt bad for him because he got derailed because of injury with Goldie.
Right,
he was very, very sadistic man. But when he turned on Johnny Gargano, good gosh, I believed it. That was that. Like to this day, I still like. That's one of my favorite feuds, and I want to see it again. Maybe not now because they're both faces, but it was just.
I think they need each other.
I think they do, but it's like almost inevitable. Like I feel like they're just going to run it back what they did. They're going to end up tagging and end up turning on each other. Johnny Goodface is the ultimate good guy, and Tommaso Ciampa can't be trusted.
But see, I feel like they are just like if you go back to TNA with Chris Medeiros and AJ Styles.
Yeah. They're like
they need each other in some way, shape, or form. Because if you needed a good match, you need to put them two together.
Because the
chemistry, when they were a tag
team,
they were kind of like unstoppable. It was like, oh, this works, and that's what because Johnny Gargano and Ciampa became a happy accident. So it was like, oh, they actually work together. This works. And then when they wrestle each other, like that works too. So either way you look at it, I think that's why the turn hurt so. Especially it was the pay-per-view was going off, and then Johnny grabbed him by the neck and just threw him into the thing. I said, oh man.
Bro, yeah, remember we watched that, like we kept saying like the graphics came up and everything. We were so
it was like the show's over, but it was like, wait a minute.
That was the first sign of that Triple H dust.
Yep, he got us good.
But you know, when it comes to those close tag teams, I'll tell you one that I was shocked that it was mentioned earlier is when Matt Hardy betrayed Jeff Hardy.
Oh my God.
I felt like it was something that probably I shouldn't have been surprised that it happened, but it's like, well, it did late in the careers. You don't think that's going to happen, but man, and out of all people, you say from Edge, like you was just beefing with Edge. Out of all history, you got
that was the thing right there, bro.
Like out of all people, and then you just the way he clocked Jeff Hardy and just stood there in the ring, stared at him while Edge just pins him. Like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just pin him real quick.
Like, you ain't gonna hit me, right? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pin him.
I was so disappointed. I was happy at the same time though, because like I said, it kind of launched. It made me take Matt Hardy's single career seriously because he had new gear. He had the tights on. I didn't like the purple tights, but when he had the black and the blue tights, I was like, okay. I said, okay.
Like the purple with the kick
no, because I didn't take that seriously. And by the time he started winning, he was disgruntled. I remember he was in a battle royal. He sat on ropes like this and just flipped over. I was like, oh, he's not gonna be there much longer. He wants to release. He showed up in TNA with braids the next week. I don't know.
It solidified me being a Matt Hardy fan.
I'm telling you. And then the match they had, it was the stretcher match. One of my favorite matches of all time. Because I feel like I'm seeing like prime singles Matt Hardy and I'm seeing prime singles Jeff Hardy really, really have.
But you know why that return was so good? Because remember, Matt won the ECW World Title and Jeff was WWF champion.
Yep.
Nobody cared about Matt Hardy being that champion because we
Jeff
were all celebrating Jeff.
Yeah.
So it was like when the heel turned, it was like, well, you got to do something with him. And it was like,
that's an Armageddon, right?
Yeah. Jeff wanted Armageddon, but
because he climbed that. Nobody cares when Matt won that title. That's why Brady said
I'm trying to remember.
That's why he didn't display that ECW championship. That's his first replica championship. He does. It's so well. Where's it at? Where's it at, Brady? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, bro. Listen.
But you know, it was long time brewing too, because you talk about like the seeds was planted in 2001 during the invasion, but you know they went their separate ways during the draft.
Far in advance, though. But see, you gotta think about when that happened, or like think about how this is how they got us, and this is something that he whose name should not be mentioned, because every time we mention his name, we have technical difficulties. Is not really known for is like you said that the seeds were planted when 2001, right? Think about
it. Matt was always like the straight and narrow focus, and Jeff was the one. And Matt always had to keep him in line. They cost him the tag titles
big time.
You know.
Jeff had left and went to TNA and come back. Like he was coming back on a new run. Like, you know, he had that TNA run and he made the decision to come back. And everybody, I remember it was a big deal. And just like that, it just ended. I was like, come on, Matt. Like, what are you doing? It's something I didn't see coming. Like, I didn't even. A lot of these feuds that we're seeing now, and we're going to move forward because we got to get into some of these modern day feuds.
Hold on. What about Matt and Lita?
See, that's now you're going to.
That's a hidden one right there.
That's like the third one you just said, brother. Here, this is like oof.
And then the fact is, Matt lost the feud.
Yeah, right.
Kind of.
Like, he get knocked out.
I mean, he got his job back. I don't know,
bro. But like, it was just like, all right, we'll bring you back, but you still like. I'm like, yo, I was just waiting for him to get one win, bro. One win.
Right.
He got his hit back in the. He got his hit back in the cage match, though.
He lost.
He lost the cage match. No, he didn't.
He lost it, man.
He lost everything.
Well, at least he side effect Edge off the stage. How about that? That was maybe that's.
But see, in that feud, redemption. The crazy part about that feud, we saw it unravel, but then when TNA did it with Karen Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett, it was like
that was cringy.
Ooh. It was and it was like you could tell, but it was like they still kept it professional. But
it was bloody too, though. Good gosh, it was bloody. Like I don't think I remember Jeff Jarrett bleeding that much. I was like, oof, I know you old school stuff, but
he bled the night on Dynamite.
Oh gosh, he on his Ric Flair stuff.
Him and Jeff Hardy had a Texas.
Oh, I missed it. That was the night.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that tomorrow. I'm watching on demand.
It was better than watching the Hardys last week.
But it was funny. The crazy part about these turns that I don't think we addressed yet either Some turns don't work. Like Jeff as a heel just doesn't work.
No.
It's nothing that you can do for Jeff Hardy to be a heel. It just doesn't. Even when he was the brother Nero, that wasn't a heel. That was just a different character.
It's no more Twister. It's no more Swanton. It's now Twister Hate. I remember that.
Yeah, nobody cared.
I really was like, bro, like I was bored. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I don't get it. And he had his belt, and I'm like, all right, dude. Like, why am I watching
they don't work like and I know we're going to get to the modern, and this might be a good segue. Like when Becky Lynch tried to turn heel, and she's like, you people didn't care about me. It was like, no, we do. That's why we're cheering for you. When she beat up Charlotte, it was like, everybody was excited. Like, yes, something different. Like, as much as she tried to lead into that.
Only time it worked for her as a heel was when she did what she did to Bianca.
Yeah, and she
which Bianca needed.
Kind of.
You know.
But remember, she became an over-the-top person, and she became the female Seth with these outfits, or Seth became the male version of her.
Who can outdo who?
Bro, they were sharing clothes, bro. They still do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
King Troy. The designer.
I think one of the speaking of Monday, one of the ladies, I tell you one that kind of really threw me off, or really I was disappointed in, was when Charlotte turned on her father, Ric Flair, and he left out of there crying. I was like, I don't know.
Was that really a turn, or was that just a?
That's like it was. She didn't have to air any personal business out on national television. You were never there for me. You didn't do your job. You were never home, and now you're riding my coattail. Go home, old man.
Typical WWE stuff.
It's a nice honorable mention. I mean, I get. Okay. Well, I mean, he came out there with Lacey Evans the next week, so I don't know.
Well,
so
no, but one I wrote down that we forgot about during the Attitude Era.
Sure.
Which is right at the very end. Stone Cold turned on WWE.
Oh,
and then
the invasion side?
Yeah, but then
I didn't buy that though.
Kurt Angle turned, like, it was like hindsight being 2020.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, you really needed Austin and Angle to jump ship to, like,
right, because nobody came over. You had the freaking B and C team coming over from WCW.
Yeah, like, but like, I'm at that time, I'm just
we
like,
had the people in catering coming over trying to get them over, but the WWE fans
Chuck
had no
Palumbo,
idea
Sean Stasiak and crew, and I'm like, I don't know. It's just no, but don't get me wrong. You're right. It definitely is, but it just seemed like it was more of a comedy act to me, because that was during Austin's kind of funny era, which I enjoyed.
Well, he was hurt, right, as well. That's why they did it, right?
Yeah, because he had to find other ways to, you know what I mean, kind of.
Well, that was it before. That was when
that door. I'm gonna open a can of you know what on him. And that was so funny. Whoever came to the door next, but
he shouldn't have never turned heel. He know it too. He
said it. He said, I remember he said it on one of his Smoking Soul podcasts.
Yeah, and in his book.
Okay, so he's clearly he said
he understood that was the wrong move.
So before we talk about every time Kevin Owens and Kevin Steen turned on Sami Zayn and El Generico, I want to take a quick stop too. I remember this threw me off. I guess around 2005 or 6 when WWE ECW was trying to find its footing, and they were trying to solidify a brand, which I didn't mind. I was for it. I know it was different. I wanted them to try to keep the aesthetic of ECW, but just make a WWE version. It just completely went off the rails, in my opinion. But early on, when you had some of those originals, man, like you saw RVD kind of get that shot. And when Paul Heyman turned on RVD, oh man, it was like the third nail in the coffin of what ECW was. Yeah, dude. Like,
it was kind of sad. It was so sad.
And just like you should have known better because it was Paul Heyman, but it was just like, come on, man. Like, this is the last remnants of what we got left for ECW, and you just killed it.
Right.
But that was also because he was suspended, right?
Yeah,
that's how he wrote him off.
You know, and that was probably a shoot. Like, that was, like you said, the last remnants, and RVD speeding while weeding.
Cost him Sabu.
But remember, he handed him the ECW title after he won the WWE title, and it was like,
that was a moment.
It was like, that's what I'm trying to.
And I wasn't an ECW person just because I didn't have access to it. But magazines told you who RVD was. You know what I mean?
ECW was all over the magazines.
But he was a longer WWF champion than Kane.
Up, see now that's a shot. I didn't. Like, we had a gunshot sound, it'd be like pow pow pow. Like that's what that sound effect would have came into full effect.
You got these generic ones.
Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. That
That
was.
was a Seth Rollins shot.
Yeah,
But
it
he said,
definitely
my
was.
title is longer than yours.
And then walk off.
And then walk off.
Speaking of Seth Rollins, let's go one of the biggest obvious ones when Seth Rollins turned on his Shield brethren. At the time, the Shield was the biggest thing that it was. The Shield was the biggest shocker that we had in such a long time in WWE. Because we had these
We didn't
moments.
think it was going to happen.
Yeah,
they were doing different stuff and it was okay.
Like it gets WWE can become mundane. Like right now, we're in a mundane space right now, and not because it's transitioning, but there was a point in time where those mundane spots would just be like, we're just kind of watching wrestling each week and something here and there, one or two storylines, but after a while, it was just this stagnant. And the Shield kind of shook things up like crazy. You know what I mean? Like we saw it previously try to happen with like the Nexus, and then but the Shield kind of came in and like did it right. And so like you said, to see what they had done in such a short time, these three young guys, everybody knew this when people started getting hip to FCW guys, and NXT was just starting. You know what I mean? Because you got to remember when the Shield made their debut, they were still working NXT.
Which was the champion when they debuted, remember?
Yeah,
Seth Rollins dropping the Big E that following week after they debuted.
Seth Rollins wrestled that championship match in his Shield gear. You know what I mean?
He came and he jumped over the barricade.
They were still doing all Shield stuff, and then Shield was just beating people up and throwing them through tables. And then all of a sudden, the authority kind of comes, back into play. Randy Orton, is right by Papa Triple H's side, and Stephanie McMahon, and now they're the manipulating bosses of the company, and they had a hand-picked, chosen young star. And once again, us evil people, we saw a betrayal launch a career. There's always a plan B. And then Seth Rollins turns on his Shield brethren and gets launches into the stratosphere. Like I said, he got there faster than Roman did. Now Roman just shattered all those records, you know what I mean? Eventually. But it's like, man, I remember watching that. Like, I never thought it was. I always assumed it was going to be Dean because he was the one that was always unhinged, and I never.
Yeah, they was trying to keep him in order.
Yeah, I never liked Dean.
Yeah, I thought Dean was going to be the breakout first. Right, I don't need this, but it was like with Seth, it was on his own tag team partner.
And it took,
that's what I think hurt me the most. I was like,
yeah, like bro, that's your guy. Like you guys
still ain't learned his lesson.
No, not one bit. And don't get me wrong. Dean got his old Mox got his payback, sometime later. But I remember that was something that really shocked the world.
Well, dude, let's go back to it though. That night it happens. I remember calling you. This is the days heavy on the Wrestling Realm group, and all of a sudden everybody said Dwayne Allen was right. The real Dwayne Allen was right, because
I called it, bro.
He said Seth Rollins would be the breakout star. You said it that December prior.
TLC, that first match. I said Seth Rollins takes all the bumps. He's the best in-ring guy right now for them. I said he's going to be the one.
And everybody's, oh man, no, this is gonna be Dean. This is gonna be
everybody
Dean.
loved Dean because he was. I think I don't know if it's because of his.
He just gave you that's what it was.
And I remember Brian Nace was saying like, oh yeah, this dude Dean Ambrose came out after. I don't know if it was the night after WrestleMania.
It was the night after WrestleMania.
But you there, brother? That was the one you went through?
That was that infamous WrestleMania that we got a Patreon story for.
Patreon.com /wrestling_realm. Please go back, go and listen to that story about that. What WrestleMania was that again? In Miami,
28.
Right? 28 in Miami. Patreon.com once again /wrestling_realm. But I remember that Monday dark match. They said he came out there. They said, I'm Dean Ambrose. I'm going to be a big deal. And I remember that was just, I kept hearing his name. I'm like, who the heck is this dude? So people, I think, just naturally assume like, oh yeah, the shit was made for Dean Ambrose to get over.
I remember Ruckus kept saying it too. He was like, oh yeah, that's the guy right there. Me and Brandon was over his house, and he kept telling, like, and obviously that's the home team.
Of course,
that's his boy. But why you look
at Brandon's face. But
because he kept saying, "You remember from CZW?" I was like, "I don't remember that man."
To this day, he just doesn't remember. So let's just this is not a Mox fan, obviously. Let's just go ahead as we're going to start winding this down, because we're going to talk about some I guess a little bit more modern day betrayals and some potential ones that we can kind of predict a little bit, because I have a few predictions. I'm sure you brothers got a few predictions, but I smell collusion. I think something's up. But let's just go down to Kevin Owens' greatest hits of his betrayals. Let's just let's just go down we don't have to go in any chronological order. Brother Brandon had mentioned him earlier.
Sammy.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's start with him and Jericho. The best friends, man.
Speaking of which, they ran that back tonight, sorta, with Don Callis and a photo. Yeah, it's like a photo, like Jericho unveils the photo, and you see Don Callis. It's a photo of him holding the head of Jericho, and Jericho gets in his face and all that other stuff.
Yeah, well,
and it reminded me of that whole story.
I think, first of all, it was shout out to Kevin Owens, is because it was around that time where I know Chris Jericho. Yes, that's what we're talking about, Dylan Matthews, the Festival of Friendship. Thank you. It was around the time where Chris Jericho kept saying like, "Hey, you just made the list."
Yep.
He kept saying like, you know what? I thank Kevin Owens for help rejuvenating my love for this business. It's because the stuff we were doing kind of got me excited. Because I same thing. I got mundane after a while. After a while, I just been kind of stagnant. Didn't know where I fit in. And he said him working with Kevin Owens, it was a mistake because I remember when I first watched the interaction backstage. And they said something to each other and they both like stormed off, and you can tell they were both about to start dying laughing. And I was like, they got really good chemistry. And then it ended up turning into a thing. Chris Jericho was already doing his thing with the list, but just him and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was already a rising superstar, you know, at the time. Shout out to he's one of the few guys that Triple H really gravitated towards, that Vin Man kind of gravitated towards. So you haven't noticed that usually it wasn't a whole lot of guys that transitioned from NXT to the main roster that got the rub. But Fat Boy was one of those guys.
Yeah.
And the Fat Boy that didn't wear a traditional ring gear either.
And that's I was for him to not. I shout out Kevin Owens is a Hall of Famer. For him not to him to get over on that side, for you know what I mean, for Vin Man to really really appreciate Kevin Owens. It wasn't the Kevin Owens. We're getting the Kevin Owens now that we saw, which is great. Triple H is giving everybody, all his NXT loyalists, a shot. Like Shinsuke right now, he's getting a shot to be in this program. Shout out to Triple H.
I think it's too. He trusts him. You look at Kevin Owens. He's somebody that
very dependable.
He's dependable. And what I mean also is like he got a family, so he ain't gonna be out there doing stupid stuff.
No, he's gonna be out there. Only thing he didn't get job done is that match he had against KO Mania 2 with Chris Jericho. Disappointing.
Yeah. but you know, in all fairness, it was supposed to be a main event worthy match for the Universal title that got bumped down to the United States title, and it was second on the card. And apparently that's the depth slot, even though Seth Rollins would like to have a word in WrestleMania 34, where I think it was 34, maybe it wasn't, but he actually had a
Was that the Intercontinental title one?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, it was the second match and it wasn't bad.
No, not at all. So there's no excuses for that. I blame Jericho. No offense, Brandon. Do you still like Jericho? It doesn't matter.
I'll definitely blame Jericho.
So he throws. I think that was probably one of the most carefully executed plans they did when he, you know, kind of gave Jericho that brand new list, and he's like, "Wait, my name's on this list." And he just turns on him. So wild. First of all, you can't trust Kevin Owens. But let's talk about the most impactful one. I think the one to me, I think this something's wrong with us wrestling fans, because once again, this betrayal to me put him on the WWE map in NXT. Sami Zayn comes out there, wins the NXT championship. Who did he beat for the NXT championship? That was who?
Neville.
Because Neville was transitioning.
I see Mello and Wesley could probably have a similar feud at Chase.
Did you just compare Neville and never mind?
The chase, not the chase that Sami Zayn went on.
Got you.
Wesley could do that.
That kind of that sympathy run, like I'm overcoming the odds. No, it makes sense. And okay, we'll get into that. We got to have an NXT show. You think people will watch an NXT show?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do one because I got some thoughts about, you know. Anyway, so once again, that the matches. First of all, it's freaking Neville and Sami Zayn. It's like the wrestling's not going to be an issue.
And this is the fourth one.
Yeah, this exactly.
How generical Sami Zayn. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he was still a lot of the stuff he was doing. Yeah,
he was still El Generico, Sami Zayn.
He definitely was. He's a different beast now. But you're absolutely right. Match ends, and everybody kept saying, because Kevin Owens had just debuted. You know what I mean? He had just kind of made his mark, and you know, we had all of my favorites in NXT at this point. We talking Samoa Joe, we got Rhino. Excuse me. Sorry. And Kevin Owens storms the ring. He gives him a big hug, raises his hand. Everybody's cheering for Sami. It's his moment. He's clapping and raising his hand. Then what does he do? He slams. He grabs him by the back. Grabs him by the back of his head, slams him onto the freaking the entryway ramp, picks him up, power bombs him on the ring apron, and it's like, oh, so vicious. And Sam is the only person that he like consistently does that. So you can tell they've been doing that for like 20 years. They're gonna be old. They're gonna be in pain because of that spot. But I can see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens still hanging out with each other, and they're really old. They like I can see those guys making indie runs at 50
at each other's house on Thanksgiving, just
talking ish. But man, I remember seeing that. I remember when he was debuted as Kevin Owens, and we were trying to get used to calling him Kevin Owens, and we like, I'm still seeing Kevin Steen. We're trying to get used to Kevin Owens. He did that. I said, okay, I see Kevin Owens. That was his like, okay, all right, man. That and then you got to remember that Kevin Owens was the first crossover champion. He was the first NXT champion that got acknowledged for his developmental title on the main roster. Because up to that point, they never acknowledged those previous championships. But he was
video with his kid looking like he's going to face John Cena.
He went out there with the NXT title. He stepped on the United States Championship. In other words, I love Kevin Owens. In case you haven't noticed, Kevin Owens would betray Sami Zayn so many times, and I'm scared he's going to probably do it again. I'm just nervous. It's Kevin Owens. You can't trust him. But man, I don't know. That's a lot. We've went through quite a few. Go ahead.
Bayley, Sasha, 2020. That led us to which I know their match at Brooklyn, Takeover Brooklyn is like iconic and will be in a Hall of Fame somewhere. But I love that Hell in the Cell match. It was
it was good. Good
contrast. You had Sasha coming out in white, Bayley coming out in black, kind of Shawn Michaels Undertaker-esque. And they delivered. But and when Sasha won,
stupid idiot. With the,
and when she wins, she doesn't celebrate. She's like in tears. And it just goes to show just a pro's pro because of the way she like is like, yeah, she won the title, but it was about avenging what her best friend did to her. You know, and that was an emotional night because we had that and we had Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns that night in the Hell in the Cell. So it was like they was taking us through all types of emotions during the pandemic.
But remember, everybody thought Sasha was going to turn on Bayley, and Bayley pulled the trigger first.
Right.
Because remember, that was that whole they were the tag team champions. Then she got the belt from Asuka. She lost it from back to Asuka. It was
I wanted them to have a longer run with that.
I wanted to see that match at Mania, but I was glad I saw it at Hell in the Cell because it gave us that moment.
Yeah, you're right.
Because
I thought. No, my bad.
Brief pause. I don't know, Dylan. I'm not sure I see this coming. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Dylan says I can see Jericho coming back home before retiring.
Me too. Yeah, I've been saying it. He gotta have Judas play at WrestleMania.
No, I think Jericho's gonna be like maybe a Hall of Fame induction. Maybe I think
he's gonna come back.
I think by the time he comes back, it's going to be too late. I think he's going to come back knowing it's nothing much for him to do. Like guys come back when it's like, look, I have nothing else left to prove. Whatever I get. But I don't think he's going to be wrestling. He's going to be huge. He's going to come back with a gut with a shirt open, still thinking he's young guy.
Bro, he heard Kingdom play at WrestleMania. He's going to want to have his song play at WrestleMania.
I mean, they about to go to Wembley Stadium and almost 80,000 plus.
It's not like the WWE audience.
Exactly. Because he's gonna probably go in there and say, see, if we was in WWE, they would have did this. You know, in New York, they would have did that, you know.
Because remember, Cody said it best. He was like, the Wolves been in my song since the Action days. And now it's just catching on because of the WWE fans. They need something to attach to.
Kevin Dunn said we're gonna make it better. You know, it's literally the same song. It's the same song.
You're absolutely right. I think it's just you right though. I don't know. Say dang. Say there y'all go again, man. I was situated in my mind, but it's like, you know what?
He's gonna come back. Jericho has to come back. And the crazy part is he probably gonna mix that. You are beautiful.
Bro, that'd be nuts though.
The countdown.
Everybody's gonna think that. Oh man, people are gonna go nuts.
And he's gonna start out with the "You are beautiful, lonely," and the crowd's gonna lose their mind.
And it's not like they didn't play that music. They played his song at WWE one time. I don't know if it was
one of his it was King of My World, right? That was his.
Yeah.
That was his during the forceful entry, right?
That kind of launched really launched his rock and roll career.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember for a while he kept saying he wasn't the lead singer. He wasn't Mongoose McQueen.
Yeah.
Mongoose
It was
McCoy.
a
Mongoose
different
McCoy is
person.
a different guy. He's
Yeah, him and Jericho are 2 different people. He was like,
I'm not
how
gonna
can I be
lie.
him?
In WCW, I was looking like that looks like Jericho, man. I'm tripping. As a kid, I was looking like, yo, he sure it's not Jericho. I swear to goodness that might be Jericho. I don't know. But as we kind of wrap this up, man, let's talk about a few of these modern day betrayals. One in particular, and then there's two that I would like to discuss that I think that's kind of brewing. It's kind of obvious. Now I think the one that we've kind of like talked about to nausea is obviously with the bloodline, especially recently with Jimmy and Jay. And we just yeah, that's exhausting. But let's talk about the most recent one and Dominik Mysterio and Rey Mysterio. Dominik Mysterio is kind of a wonderkins, right? And then once again, he betrays his father, something so evil, and now he's the biggest heel in the company. He's making so much money now; it's ridiculous. He's so in demand. He's on 2 different shows. 1 minute he's on NXT. He's an NXT champion, North American champion, and he can't get on the microphone without getting the loudest boos in the ring. Like he has Logan Paul jealous. He has Matt Cardona jealous. Like Matt Cardona, I was just, of course, it's the major wrestling figure podcast. He's like, he was, his wife is Chelsea Green, so he was like, yeah, I was there. He's like, and I was one of those people saying, y'all, they're piping in those boos. He said, no, those boos are real. And then he starts getting excited and goes, that's what wrestling is all about, man. I was like, yeah, see, Matt Cardona is so insulted because he doesn't want to be in WWE because he can't be in control of his destiny, but he really feels like he belongs there. And I feel bad for him because nobody wants to see Zack Ryder, and neither does he.
I'm over him.
He wants to be Matt Cardona.
You over Zack Ryder or you over Matt Cardona?
No,
Matt Cardona.
Zack Ryder. I'm a Matt Cardona guy, but I'm gonna be honest with you. There's nothing else left for him to do.
That's the point.
Them indie runs are only good for like a solid 1 or 2 years.
Yeah,
it's
because he's done everything in the indies. He collected all the belts,
bro.
He done reinvigorated himself. But back to the betrayal.
I think he feels betrayed by WWE. How about that? Because I think he's feeling it because now he takes more subtle shots at WWE more now than ever. Because I think he feels like, dude, I'm insulted. Like, why won't I prove myself? And it's like, well, you're not getting any younger, pal. But anyways, there are 2
Edge.
Yeah, y'all don't like Edge. He's got friends over there. He's got Cody. Cody's got a little pull right now. Yeah. There's 2 potential betrayals that I think may be brewing. I want you guys to give me your opinion.
When you say that, honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Go ahead.
Aiden English and Rusev.
Nobody remembers that.
You know why I remember it? Because remember, Rusev Day was over.
Yeah.
He gave him an extra layer, give him a ring announcer, right? And that's all he was doing. Then it was like, oh, here's a betrayal. Here's a squash match. Never thought about it again.
There you go. Yeah. And I know one thing you said right about that. That was very true. It's definitely an honorable mention.
Because look at what Rusev did. He said, "Oh, I'm Miro now, and watch what I can do here." The Redeemer.
Now he has somebody that's fizzled, and I don't want to say fizzled because you're doing the same thing that you're doing in WWE. You're a mid card guy. You're barely being used, and you were being displayed better in WWE. I like him in AEW, but he's a little disappointed for me.
That's what man told him. They not singing with you. They making fun of you.
Yep.
Yeah, kinda.
And he was supposed to go prove Vince wrong, and he didn't.
Nope, he didn't. So let's talk about somebody that proved Vince wrong at one point. Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Oh. Call me crazy, good brothers. Come on now. If the seeds are not obviously being planted,
yeah,
this is inevitable, especially after that last.
I feel like they're going to band together and beat up JD.
No, come on now. JD, I don't know what they're doing with JD. And brother, I can tell you got something on your chest. Right? He's going to get it off.
He mad about Dolph.
I thought Dolph was going to come out. Like I thought he was going to come out and try to join the fight with the, because like Kevin Owens is out with injury. I figured Dolph, he was going to come back and he was going to get a big pop and work with JD McDonough because JD McDonough attacked him and then we didn't see him anymore after that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't know what the deal is with JD McDonough. And I think the Judgment Day is too hot to try to add a member at this point. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's kind of inevitable. Like it's when Damian Priest slid that briefcase and it went under his legs and Cody called it. He looked up. I was like, oh boy. And everybody, and I don't know if it was somebody said, man, that Money in the Bank briefcase is cursed. Because every time they try to use it in a match, man, Finn is not winning. Like he just keeps taking the L, and I'm just like, man, it's only a matter of time before Damian Priest and Finn Balor go at it. And I'm like, man, so my question to you guys is, because to me it's obvious. First of all, let me ask you this: is it obvious to you all like it is to me? That's the first question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no because it's Triple H dust.
Okay. See, that's Brett is paranoid.
That's my problem.
And I don't blame you.
You
Because
have
you put
critical
JD
thinking.
there, then you took him out, and I really think Triple H might be leaking stuff to the internet that's ruining wrestling because
1,000%.
you know what I mean. Like I feel like he's leaking it to get it. I feel like they're gonna band together and take out JD, or it's gonna be a program with because Finn might want to wrestle JD to get him over.
That's also true. See, I don't. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like he might want to do. He might want to try to get him over because remember, JD is kind of a failed Triple H project from NXT because of the pandemic. Had him locked down, and he couldn't get back to defend the cruiserweight title.
That's when Santos got it, right?
Yep, right. And he was the interim. You know, one of the few times they did an interim, and then when he came back, it was like, all right. So
people didn't really remember about him.
Yeah, it's like, who is this? What's the deal?
Not to mention they had kind of slowed down NXT UK because of the pandemic as well. So it's like that's kind of how people were getting familiar with him in the first place. And usually it was a seamless transition, but like you said, unfortunately, with the global pandemic,
I think he need to go back to NXT because look what Noam Dar did. He had to get. I was
just about to say the same thing.
He was getting over in 205, derailed. Yep. NXT UK derailed. NXT now he's like a whole different presentation. He's still the same, but he looks it's a different presentation of him. And I think Finn gonna wind up putting him over in the match.
Who is going to betray who first? Is Finn going to betray Damian, or is Damian going to betray Finn? My fingers are pointing at Finn. He has more to be upset about.
I was about. Seems like it would be Finn, if anything.
Now, then again, I don't trust Damian because he the one that knocked Edge out in the first place. He the one that kind of took control. Was like, we got rid of everybody that's trying to hold us back except you. And then he clotheslines him, and I was like, I don't know. Are we still sticking with Finn? Finn is the obvious choice, but it's like Brandon, you said it. That Triple H dust, man. That flavor is different. I don't trust him.
I don't either. That's why I said as much as they saw in these seeds, I think it's going to be a Finn versus JD to prove that he's part of he's still rolling with the Judgment Day.
Well, like I said, we'll wait and see. We'll put a pin in it, man. And like I said, I got one more prediction, and I don't know if you guys saw what I saw, and I'm just like, we've been watching this a long time. You can kind of tell when something's up, and Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yeah.
Like,
you think they break up the LWO?
It goes back because I don't think the LWO was meant to be a long-term thing. I think it was just supposed to be an established brand to get these young guys going. It got
some quick merch sales in Puerto Rico.
It got Legado del Fantasma over, and it helped get Zelina Vega right. It gave her a platform to do what she does, right? And it goes back to what you said about Finn and JD. Like, man, I think Rey is going to be the one to pass that title on to Santos. Because like the shoot say, look, man, I think that's his dream match, to be honest with you. I think Santos is I would love to think about it. If you Santos Escobar and probably the biggest superstar in the Latin wrestling community is now your mentor, you never probably would think in a year like 2023 that you have an opportunity to fight him for a championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
and
to
Rey
me,
loses nothing when he loses to Santos.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on now. He's like Rey's. He's the OG. He's solidified. He's stamped. Nothing he
but
does.
But they said that he's one of the few Hall of Famers to win a title.
And think about it. You know he's not holding that thing long term. Come on now. No. Rey's preparing the next generation. That's why he's been mentoring LWO. That's why they've been doing all the leg work. He's just giving them an established brand to say, look, man, I'm associating you guys with top guys, with Eddie and Chavo and La Parca. Like they're in the same echelon now. It's almost like the Bullet Club, the fraternity of all these legendary Latin American superstars. You know what I mean? These are important. It's an important association because think about it. Legado del Fantasma was on the roster for a long time. See, I think Zelina's.
I think she go with Santos. I think she's a better heel. I think Santos is an incredible heel.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Yeah, that's the way I see it.
But they're not doing nothing with the tag team. They just keep appearing.
Well, see, they're supposed to be the muscle because they're not really established yet either. But
Right.
the difference now is I trust Triple H instead of Vince McMahon, because now at least I feel like they won't get released. They play their part. You know what I mean? The same way that Imperium does with
that was
Gunther.
that was right there. It's a little dissension going on within Imperium too. So,
Bro, I'm telling you, man, I'm seeing Da Vinci like, oof.
Oh,
I'm like, man, what's up with you, bro? Are we gonna go back to the way it usually was? Because for some reason, everybody's saying they hire up on Ludwig Kaiser as a main event player.
It's because of that coat twirl. That coat twirl.
Bro, he is sharp. They like, man, if this guy can be that sharp with something that minute, imagine give this man a platform. And even Gunther said, he said, man, this guy is really good. Like, he shouldn't be my sidekick. Like, this guy should be up there. And I'm just like, no, don't break him up just yet. But he's not wrong either, though. Like, they're really, really good. The ring general.
And then you hear the way Samantha Irvin calls his name.
Bro, he has been in all the talking head segments when it comes to Imperium backstage. He's really, really good. Like I said, I knew of him from a distance. From, like I said, I've seen him in glimpses in NXT. Yeah, but like, he has range. He's really, really, really good.
But what you call it can wrestle. Da Vinci can wrestle,
and he can boogie, because he was about to be a single star. He was about to be like this Italian Rock in NXT before Triple H kind of took the reins and they put him back. And I was okay with it because I said, I like this guy's look. He's got the size, he's got the look, kind of this Italian playboy thing. But then I was like, then they put him back with Imperium, which wasn't a bad idea either. But I was just like, man, I like Imperium, but it's just like, I think some of these factions aren't meant to be long-term factions. They have a goal and they have an end in mind. Let's get these guys over. But
because Walter doesn't need Imperium. Imperium needs Walter.
Kinda, because like I said, the tag team division is not really based on the tag team division. Like, all the tag teams are involved in storylines right now. Which
remember, Imperium was a tag team in NXT, and they were tag champions multiple times, and without Walter at all. Right. They were Imperium as a duo. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, even if you, I'm sorry, Gunther, even if you want to have,
it was Walter, it's okay.
But even if you want to have him break off into his own, there's nothing wrong with it being a New Day type of situation where Gunther is there and they're there.
I agree with you.
Because honestly, split these belts up, because there's too many teams that on both shows that you don't need one team to float between both shows.
But here's my problem with that is that doesn't last long term for some reason. You know what I mean?
Which
like say we have, when we only have one tag titles, it seems like division is loaded. But then it's like when we have two tag titles, all of a sudden it's like, well, who's going to fight for both these? Like, who's going to be important enough to the point where we want to see these tag team champions on TV every week? Like, I got no beef with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens being the tag team champions and not really featured every week. It's because, like, tag team wrestling is never like the focus. The focus is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and them being the tag team championships elevates the fact that the championships are important. Is because they're on main event players. You know what I mean? So if they're out right now, they're injured, I'm like, I don't need to be like, okay, well, we got to have a tag match because they're the champions. So what? Tag team wrestling has never been popular in the modern era just because it's tag team champions. Tag team wrestling has been important because of who have been the champions. And you can ask FTR about that.
I think that you need the titles, because right now, how much more the Viking Raiders going to get beat up on Monday Night Raw? They're just there.
I don't see. I see.
They're just there. I mean, when they come out, think about it. If the Viking Raiders on Monday face anybody, you know they're going to lose.
Well, who have they really lost to though? I'm talking about tag teams though. Like, they lost to New Day, right? But New Day's Hall of Famers, and then you lose to Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle, the new odd couple. But it's Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle.
Academy.
Alpha Academy is up.
Right, they keep losing to them.
I mean, I don't know. You
worry about them if they lose the Hit Row.
Hit Row is the Viking Raiders of SmackDown. They're on SmackDown.
No, cut it out. No, it's not.
They're going to lose to anybody. Like, to the point that it's like they got fed to LA Knight now. So what's next?
Yeah,
Michael Cole buried them. Well, I'm sorry, Michael Cole buried.
The Top Dollar said it best. He's like, I'm working with a top guy.
They're lucky LA Knight.
He getting paid, so he ain't worried about nothing. Because guess what? It's better than sitting at home without a job.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Yeah, he was definitely.
And he's gonna keep doing things on social media and keep himself relevant, so that way
he's smart. You can tell he fight for his job. He's like, man, I got released once.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, I was on
And I'm
WWE
not saying
Treasures,
there's nothing
man.
wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, we know Pretty Deadly is hurt right now, so they off TV.
They're really good too.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're hurt right now, but then, Hurt Business 6.0, or whatever number we want to call them, they're there. Because I really thought the turn was going to happen with the Street Profits, and not
It
a
still
necessarily
might.
turn. Huh?
Still might. It might
But
not happen
I
today,
feel like it's
tomorrow.
going to be you don't fit, you go over there type of deal. I'm
Bingo.
gonna be Bobby. Montez is going to stay with Bobby, and what you call it going to go because they put him in a suit, but I'm like,
not buying it.
and you see
don't
he
like
got his
it?
haircut and everything. I said, oh, okay.
He's no.
He ain't got that headband on right now.
They're definitely not Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. But like I said, I don't. I'm waiting to see where this goes.
That's the mentor, but that's the thing, though. Like you said, it's just Bobby giving back to the young brothers. It's sometimes a lot of this stuff times too. It's a shoot, like okay, let me work with these guys just so I can travel with them and teach them how to.
There you go.
Conduct themselves as stars as well. It's not always storyline, but storylines help. But it's also like
grounded in reality.
Yeah,
it's Triple H does because it's the same thing that we see with Bayley doing with them young girls. And same thing that now I'm hearing. I don't know if it's true or not. Italia wants to do the same thing. Wants to work with some young girls, kind of be the manager / I'll get in the ring, but I got young people. Let them
look at
take all the
NXT. They got a lot of new women tag teams and a lot of new women. That's
I got a turn for you. That's about to happen down there. Dana Brooke on Kalani Jordan. That's coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that is Magnum TA Mr. Wrestling 2 all over again.
Wow.
And what you call
that's
it?
I thought she was going to leave
for you. I thought she was going to leave. Chase you until she had that talk with Rey Mysterio. I thought she was really about to sow the seeds of I'm out of here, especially after he threw the towel on her. I was like, oh, then she got him back and threw the towel.
Oh, modern era. Shoot, I just looked at JC Jane and Gigi Dolan.
Uh-oh.
That was brutal,
bro. Because the door didn't break. So
it did not.
Yeah,
that was almost as bad as the skateboard that didn't break. I mean, it broke too early. I was like, oh. But she tried to sell it though. She tried.
But they was cooking.
They were cooking.
I tell you a betrayal that was trash.
Oh wow, there we go. This is a different twist.
Kiera Hogan and Jay Cargill and Kiera Hogan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show.
Poorly executed.
Oof. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not talking bad about AEW no more, so it's just tough. But
hey, we want to be hard on,
Now you're right. Everybody gets fair treatment, man. It's just
and because it was like, yo, I could have wrote a story for that, and I'm not a writer, but I'm like, it was so easy. It was so easy. That's the part that make you mad when they mess up something that's just like a layup.
Like the framework is already there for you. All you gotta do is just say go on TV. It's already
there you go. Make it happen.
Like it is because like I don't know if you remember like with the whole thing with Becky Lynch when she started her winning streak and she said I need to stop being I was because Becky was that 4 horsewoman that didn't get called and she stayed in her own lane, and then she became the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion that nobody really expected out of that match. But it was like she was the right choice. And when she cut that promo saying, I'm tired of being the was and I was this, it's time for me to start being. I think that's why that heel turn didn't work for her because we were behind her. You could tell when it had the Miz vibes because it was reality for her. So when they tried to turn her against Charlotte, it was like, no. It got that anybody but Cena feel. Remember back in them days, it was like no matter who Cena fought, we were cheering for the other person. So now it was like, okay, Becky, we don't want you to until you did it to somebody we beloved. And then I was like, oh, Becky, we don't just lead into the hillside. Lead into it.
Yeah.
Go over the top, big time backs. And then she was like, oh, never mind, I'm back to being the man.
There you go. That was once was Ric Flair and WWE got back in good terms again.
Yeah, that definitely was.
Yeah, no, you can't cancel the Nate anyways. Brothers, man, there's so many betrayals. It started off with the Good Brothers and trolling me with the championship belt. It's just, man, from start to finish, man. This is
Instagram. Real quick, Brittany Wrestling Baddie put AJ Lee and Caitlyn, and Carlos put WCW wrestlers betraying WCW wrestlers betraying WCW to join the NWO that killed the shock value. Of course, said Hogan should be number one on everybody's list. Shout out to everybody commenting on socials.
We thank
Let's
you all
see,
for
AJ
engaging with us. Thank you.
Definitely
AJ
appreciate that.
made who? I totally forgot about. But
Yeah, I've definitely
It's definitely a forgotten gem. Like I say, it was special for the time. It's just that but we've had so much other things happen since then where it seems kind of like it's gotten lost in the shuffle compared to what we have seen, especially with the
I
ladies and what
forgot
they're
to say
doing now.
this. Brian, a hot take. I think that Seth versus Shinsuke is about to be what Shinsuke to AJ was supposed to be.
So you think Shinsuke gonna get one?
No, I'm saying, remember how we were all excited for the AJ and Shinsuke?
The match
Yeah,
didn't deliver at Mania. I was
I
so
think
disappointed.
Seth and him about to have a program that we should have saw with AJ. In
I'm
Triple
trying-
H's hands?
I'm trying to figure out why the heck AJ's not delivering at WrestleManias. His match, the best match he delivered at
think
WrestleMania
about
was
this.
him in the Boneyard match.
They did the best thing with Shinsuke. He cut his promo in Japanese, right?
Japanese, bro. I was
But
perfect.
then Seth came out and carried the whole promo, and Shinsuke just stood there. So it was like, it's the mystery now because...
And then he whispered something in his ear, and Seth took his glasses off and looked like, what? And I was like, oh, yeah. He said something.
That's that
that mystique.
Nick Fury speaking in Thor's ear and Thor dropping the hammer.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
I'll explain
On that note,
I'll explain that reference later. The way he knew exactly that reference.
Everybody's like, yeah, you right.
Yeah, I'll explain that reference. That was a good part. That was a awesome part in the comic books. But okay.
Listen, man. This is got to be one of for me. It's one of the most fun shows. I like the shows where we can come back and just kind of reflect. You know what I mean? And this it obviously didn't take much for us to get into the conversation because we have so much experience of just watching this stuff for years and analyzing it and going over it and just having fun with it. And brothers, we did it again. Very successful show. Thank you for everybody that participated with us, that gave us your favorites and your best betrayals of all time. Thank you for everybody that participated in the comment section. You guys make this fun. Thank you for joining the conversation. Follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Subscribe, engage, all that in the bag of chips. Support. We got some work to do, man. We got plenty of things to do. Championship Culture is up. YouTube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Check the playlist. Championship Culture. You can see the latest show and you can binge watch all the other shows. You guys are on fire right now. Championship. We gotta add some merchandise to the store. I talked to you guys about that. We got to figure out what it is we're gonna do with what you guys want to do, and trying to see what we can do by making some of the merchandise for Championship Culture available on the show. It shouldn't take us that long to get so like I said, we'll be talking about that off the air. Brothers, continue to keep doing what you're doing. Excellent job with Championship Culture and just everything you guys are producing. It's been really, really fun. Like I'm a fan. Like you guys we're on the network together, but yet I enjoy what you guys put out every week, just from your advertising, the marketing, show content delivery. See, there you go. See, we came all this way and we just couldn't end on a betrayal. Just shh. Keep your mouth shut, kid. Ears open, your mouth shut.
Well, make sure Tuesday where this guy, the real Dwayne Allen's gonna give us his 2 cents on the looks can be deceiving. The different titles that should be categorized as world titles.
Oh, trust me, I plan on it. Hopefully, I can. Like I said, I'm gonna stop by and get my shirt. I'm gonna finally get my title. We're gonna do an even exchange. We're gonna do a hostage exchange.
We're gonna get that in video.
We're gonna get these. We're gonna try.
Brian's gonna have his shirt before you. I guarantee that.
Oh yeah, Brian about to leave now.
Why does he look like
how he
that?
look
yeah, right.
Yeah, he looked at y'all like, who could get this shirt?
Brian gonna have it in the gym in the morning.
Right.
Nah, that's disrespectful.
Jack Daddy over there. Whoa, okay. All right.
Huh?
I like the jersey, by the way.
Mike went out.
My mic?
No, mine. No, my fault. No,
Oh.
Yeah. No, I just dropped out, but he was talking about your jersey. You got a Hall of Fame jersey for a Hall of Fame guy.
Yes, sir.
But ladies and gentlemen, join us next week. Who knows what we'll be talking about next week? Payback will be here before you know it. We'll be here same bat time.
Pittsburgh, Hughes' hometown.
Same bat place. Wow. Look at that. We will catch you all next week. Peace out.
Mr. Water.